Hello and welcome to Films for the Very First Time. My name is Jordan, and with me, as always, Casey McGeorge.
Oh, how's it going, everybody?
It is going good. We are trucking along here in season 3. We are going back. Well, let me first describe the podcast, I guess. But each week, if this is your first time listening, we each pick a movie for the other co-host that they have never seen. Sometimes there's things called wild cards, where we pick a movie that we want to watch that we haven't seen instead. And I think we said this last episode, but we are adding the endless scroll, which is the adding on there, which is picking a movie on streaming that neither of us have seen and doing that. So we have some options. This week I picked a movie. It was my turn, and I took us back to the world of Bond. Last year, we watched Casino Royale and Quantum of Solace, and this year, we're talking Skyfall. So, the way this usually works is we talk about why haven't you seen this? And I think it makes sense, Casey, why you haven't seen this because you had not seen the other two where this
Yeah,
movie came
or,
out.
or honestly, up until last year, I had not seen any James Bond movie. Like I'd
Right.
seen maybe a scene or bits and pieces here or there, but I'd never actually sat down and watched a full James Bond movie until I had to watch Casino Royale last year. And I'm one of those people like I don't want to start in the middle of a series. And I
Yeah.
know you could kind of say there's different series because there's the Connery series and the Dalton series,
Yeah.
and then the Pierce Brosnan series, and now the Daniel Craig series. So I could have just picked it up at some point with like one of those. But to me, it's all the same. Whereas like, yeah, it's one big series. I'll say this. I think I was chatting with a buddy online when I posted on my Facebook page as I'm getting ready to record or I'm getting ready to watch whatever. I'll post like what I'm watching that week for the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody was like, "What do you mean you haven't seen it?" And I said, "Well, they're pretty much all the same. British guy, very very attractive, goes out, gets in some fights, finds an attractive woman, sleeps with her, she dies, gets in something with the villain. There's a monologue. He saves the world. End of story." And he's like, "Well, if you're just gonna summarize every movie like that, like, yeah, what's the point of watching it?" And without giving anything away of how I feel about Skyfall, of the three movies I've seen, it pretty much all follows that exact
Mm-hmm.
what I just laid out. Maybe not in that order, but pretty much in that order, like or pretty much all of those things happen in every single movie I've seen.
Right.
So like it's kind of like I said, I told them it was like once you've seen one or you've seen them all, or once you kind of get the gist of one, like what's the reason to watch it? Because just about exactly what's going to happen in every single one. So
And we'll see. The way I would describe that, it's like, you know, the same general ingredients, right? But can taste very different, like Coke and Pepsi. I like Coke better than Pepsi, but most of they're both colas, right? And they are so it's a little different tastes.
I guess you could
In
put it
each
like
one.
this: it's like a lot of Mexican food. It's all the same stuff, where it's meat, beans,
Right.
rice, and a tortilla of some sort, and cheese maybe. Depending how you layer it or put it together, it can be a burrito, it can be a taco, it can be this, it can be that, it can be something else entirely.
Right.
But it's pretty much all the same stuff. So,
Right. Right. So yeah, last year was your first Bond movie. I actually was re-listening to it because I was re-editing it for a over on Soups and Sabers. We have a separate feed called the Bond Pod that I just started, which is because just like you, I'd only seen the Craig films. Like you hadn't seen any until last year. I hadn't seen any till 2021. So it was almost exactly 4 years ago that I just binged all of these movies and then bought a ticket for No Time to Die. So
you want to hear
go ahead.
something really weird? I actually own the entire James Bond collection. I think I might
I
have
know
even bought No Time to Die.
you
Like
did. You bought
it
it
was
on
on
it when we were recording.
Like I bought the whole collection a couple years ago during a Prime Day sale because I'm like, I'm sure at some point I'll be bored and I'll just finally get around to watching a James Bond movie. And I never did. So I own the physical copy of every James Bond movie. I just never watched any of them until recently.
Yeah, see, I made your purchase worth it by doing this, but I just started going back, and last weekend I watched the first Sean Connery movie. So
Oh,
I
you went all the
decided
way back.
I did. I decided I was gonna start at the beginning. I think on the last one, or Casino Royale, or Quantum of Solace, when you're talking about it, and I was saying that I might go reverse and go Pierce Brosnan and then
Yeah, I thought. Yeah, I
backward.
remember you saying something like that. You were gonna maybe do like the
But
Brosnan ones next because they were a little more modern as
right,
compared to the '60s and Sean Connery, right?
but I think I don't know if it was just the runtime of it or something, but I it was only an hour 45 for the first Sean Connery movie, Doctor No, and I watched it and I was like, you know what? This is my first time watching all of these. I want to share my thoughts, and the best way I do that is through podcasting. So I just decided over on the Soups and Sabers podcast, I was going to just record little thoughts of each one and kind of chart my thoughts as I'm going through each Bond film to put it up there. So that's why I created a separate feed for it as well. So if people are, and then Bond is kind of coming back, right? They got the video game coming out next year, and then they also have the
Amazon
we
has purchased the
we're starting to
rights
get
to,
the
yeah,
yeah, we're starting to get news about the new movie.
or
Uh,
series or whatever they're gonna do with it. I don't know.
yeah, we know for sure a movie because Denny Villeneuve has been hired as the director, but there was talk about them doing spin off. So we'll see if they do
A
that.
Bond universe like the
Right.
MCU, which so once again without spoiling anything, as I've watched all these three, right? Okay, James Bond is 007. So at some point last night, I was like, are there other 00s? Like, and apparently, and they've been mentioned in the books that Ian Fleming wrote, and I think they've been mentioned in some of the movies that there are other 00s, right?
Yeah, the
And
the new video game coming out, it has uh, a storyline that is original. It's not based off anything, and the they keep mentioning about 009, and I guess he kind of goes rogue or something.
yeah,
Maybe something like that. So yeah, I think there's
and I saw that
at least
it
9.
actually goes into double fit like there's 0010 and stuff like that. So there are other, not Bond, but there are other
Right.
members of MI6 that are out doing their own individual missions with their own version of M, and or maybe it's the same M, and she's just I don't know, because I haven't really looked into all of that, right?
Right.
So I don't. I'm a firm believer in not everything needs its own universe,
Uh-huh.
right? I think the MCU was very successful initially with the MCU. Marvel was very successful with the MCU because other people had made their own little universes, like we talked about last episode, or the first episode of the season we did where it's on John Hughes universe that I
Yeah.
coined. Kevin Smith started in the '90s, did what he called the View Askew verse, where all these movies he made took place in with the same characters in the small New Jersey area, right? Have you ever seen any of the Kevin Smith films? Or?
No, I think I saw part of Dogma.
All right, keep that in mind for later. But I'd see. Here's the thing: I don't know what we can do with Dogma because up until recently, he just got the rights back to Dogma
Right.
because it
Right.
was trapped behind the whole Harvey Weinstein thing. So I know, like, I have the DVD of that because they haven't done a Blu-ray or anything or streaming
Right.
release of it because of Weinstein. He just got
I'm
the
pretty
rights
sure
back.
I'm pretty sure I have the DVD to Dogma as well. Actually, I don't know
It was going for a
where
pretty
it's at.
penny for a while because it was going for a pretty penny for a while because it
Out of print.
came out of print and
Yeah.
it's hard to find. But I know later on this year he's doing another re-release, and there's talk about maybe like a 4K and some other stuff. So hopefully we'll get some more news on that. But like all of these characters take place around New Jersey, and have same characters. So he kind of did his own universe there before the MCU. And there's been other people who've done and tried things. And initially I was like, I don't know if we need like a Bond universe. Like, but after watching the 3 movies I have, I'd be curious to see how they would handle 002, 0026, or whatever they go with, because not everyone can be this suave, womanizing person who can do everything that Bond does, right? There's got to be someone who's maybe like a Jason Bourne in there. There's got to be someone who's maybe more like a Sam Fisher, like totally super undercover, who works completely in the shadows. So depending what they would do with it, it might be interesting to see. But I don't know. It's Amazon and it's a universe that it could totally mess it
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they do now that they have. I think a lot of people were apprehensive about it, obviously because of that. But I would say from what I've been listening to and what I've been reading from fans, so far Amazon's winning them over by just like the people they're putting together so far for the 26 Bond film. And then, it seems like they're putting a lot of care into it, and look, it's probably the biggest franchise Amazon actually has the rights to, so they want to get it right. But it's like, what happens once you do get it right? Do you then start pumping stuff out? Do you,
up. So did you?
we've seen companies have goodwill that lose goodwill when they continue on with something.
If they came out with Bond 26, whatever it's called, right, and totally screw it up, they may never be able to get the goodwill back.
Right.
Did you see the rumor I talked about last time, where I had read that there was a rumor that Aaron Taylor Johnson had been offered the role but hadn't accepted, and maybe they were still negotiating stuff yet. But that
I
was
hadn't seen. Good.
I had only, like I said, I hadn't seen that everywhere. It wasn't like here's that. It wasn't in like Variety or the Hollywood Reporter or anything like that. It was through some other stuff that I don't know how reputable some of those sources are, which sometimes they do get stuff right and they do have better sourcing, but because they're not like the Hollywood Reporter or Variety, where they probably have better or more stringent journalistic standards on how they're going to put information out that they get. So they may, like those two may have to wait to get 2 or 3 confirmations about what they're putting out as compared to comic CBR or something like that. But I'm not saying CBR was where I got it, but you know what I'm saying? Like websites like that where they might get info but don't have the 3 sources that like Hollywood Reporter might need or something like that.
Yeah, the thing that I wouldn't expect a cast until it is tough because it really depends on who has the biggest say. And what I mean by that is
it Amazon
is it the producers picking the actor or is it Villeneuve? Because like if it's Denis Villeneuve, he's shooting Dune 3 right now. That comes out in December of 2026, which means that he's going to be
he's probably not touching it until after that. Yeah.
Right.
He's probably not touching anything until after that's done.
Right. There's probably somebody out there writing a script for it that he can give notes on while he's editing Dune 3. But usually a casting doesn't happen until the script is done and they're getting ready to gear up. And it looks like David Heyman, who is a producer, says that, like, this article I was just reading says that like production would start in 2027, which means it's probably getting a 2028 release date, right?
At the earliest.
And with that, I would assume maybe we hear something a year from now of who is cast. But here's the thing. If it is going to be more up to the producers and they want momentum and they're like gearing up for this, then they might try to push it earlier, right? Where they're saying, look, this is who we want to build our James Bond series around right now. We're going to do like 4 or 5 movies. So we're trying to get somebody young. We're going to go after this guy and boom, Like I could totally see Amazon pulling something like that too, where they like jump the gun and just say, "Let's do it." Like let's just show off a, you know,
Have a press
we
conference and Aaron Taylor Johnson comes out in a tuxedo or something, right?
right now. The funny thing is, that was a very popular rumor, but the okay, so here you go. Denny Villeneuve says he will begin the search for the new James Bond next year after he completes production on Dune Part 3. Uh they want him to be a fresh-faced British male, an unknown in their 20s or 30s is one of the things that Deadline reported, okay? That's what Deadline reported. Now, the short list that released this summer through one of these sources, I guess, said it was a 3-name short list. All of these people are well known and they're all in their 20s, so I don't really know how that would fit the list. But you have Tom Holland, Harris Dickinson, and Jacob Elordi.
I don't know who the last two are. The only one I know is Tom Holland, but like
I've heard of Jacob Elordi. I don't really
I've heard
know
the
what.
name. I don't know what he might have done.
Uh, oh, he was in Euphoria. That's.
So I
Oh,
would say, good.
he was just in the new Frankenstein movie that came out yesterday.
And that's getting great reviews too. Here's the thing about Holland.
He plays the Frankenstein's monster in that.
Here's the thing about Holland. He is young. He's very well known. He has a
Yeah.
fan base, so people will go see it, right? For some of us, it will be shocking to hear him speak with his British accent because he has played Spider. Like people probably only know him as playing Spider-Man, and some people may not know that he's actually British. Like I've heard him do other interviews and things where he has talked with his natural accent. But like we've talked about before, hearing some of these actors and actresses talk with their natural accent, you're like, well, I didn't know this person was Australian or whatever. With Holland, that might depend on how much he's tied up with, how much more he has left with the MCU and Spider-Man and Sony.
That's the thing. I think he would be almost ruled out because if you're casting James Bond, you don't want to be worried about his availability for Spider-Man and like that being a thing. Yeah.
If he has anything else with the Uncharted series that he has left to do after the Uncharted movie, I don't know if there's other movies planned on that.
Yeah, I don't think they're doing anything with that because it didn't do.
It did okay, and it got decent reviews, but it's a video game movie, so who knows, right? Like, I don't know. I think they did. I think I read that there was a teaser in the end where it could lead to a sequel. I don't know.
It looks like it is in development, but there's no release date, so who knows if they're actually doing it. So there's a lot of stuff in development that never happens, but
that could just be, once again, that could be tied up because he's freaking Spider-Man. Like,
right,
you can you can do everything you want and develop it, but obviously, who's going to come calling first and who's probably going to get first dibs on everything is Sony and Marvel with any sort of Spider-Man stuff and MCU stuff. Yes. My next question was, you might have already answered, I don't know, but so do you hire the actor first and then do the script after that? Or do you do the script of what you want initially and then hire the actor based off your initial script for whether it's rebooting or picking up after No Time to, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I think you can just, I think you would just do.
I don't know if one has to come first.
No, I think you could do either or. Like, if you're like, hey, we're casting this guy, which means we want the script to be like this, or you write the script and you say, well, we're looking for somebody that can embody this, right? Like, now that we have it written. I don't think there's a right or wrong way to kind of do it. For any movie. I think any movie, you could pretty much like either, it always happens where either somebody's attached really early before a script or a director, or they cast after it's already done, and they're like, oh, okay, yeah, like I'm sure. I'm sure it happens. It depends on what they want to do the most, right? Like I would assume Denis Villeneuve and the producers have already talked when he had his pitch, to get the job, what his type of Bond was going to be, and that would already kind of entail who they're like looking at that point. When they say he described Bond as this, this, and this, which means we want an actor that can embody
I'm
this
assuming
personality.
the first thing they wanted was a younger Bond. They probably
Yeah,
that seems to
I
be the
would think
hot
so.
thing between the video game and everything else. They wanna catch everybody as they're starting off and not as they're established, right? Kind of they're going the opposite way of where Superman and James Gunn is going. Gunn is going. He's like their world's already established. Let's just jump right in. We don't need origin stories anymore. Now for Bond, they're probably going. We need the origin story. Maybe
I don't
how
know if they will. I guess that's
maybe
the
not
curious
origin
thing.
story, but at least
Young enough where they can do like I said, 5, 6 movies.
yeah. I mean, they with Casino Royale, they did
An origin.
Casino Royale was his origin story, but he was a little
Yeah.
bit older when he became 007. He wasn't, the young 22-year-old, who's starting off.
How old was Craig? So 1968 is when he was born.
He's
He was
57 now, so
he was like 38 when he filmed that. Or 37 probably when he filmed it, 38 when it
but
released.
so they probably their pitch for them was late 20s, early 30s Bond. And
Right.
I mean, if you're getting an espionage and spy, I mean, maybe you start out in your early 20s. I don't know. Maybe you have to work your way up with some other stuff, and then
Right.
in your late 20s, I don't know how the world of espionage works. I'm not meant to know because I'm not in
We're
that
not
world.
part of
Right?
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I did know, they'd probably have to kill me. So
Yeah, but it'll be interesting to see how it shakes out, I guess. All right, are we ready to talk about Skyfall?
let's do it.
All right, so Skyfall was directed by Sam Mendes, written by Neal Purvis, Robert Wade, and John Logan,
Now
based on
I'm sorry, Mendes did the other ones too, correct? Or
no,
were there different directors for each one so far?
so far for each one. Now Mendes will do the next one, Inspector, but he's actually going to be doing the 4 Beatles movies that are coming out as well. He's attached to do those, which is
now
interesting.
Now, correct me. I can't remember. I asked you this when we did Lord of the Rings, and I asked whether you preferred to have separate directors like they did for the Harry Potter series. Maybe it depends on the franchise, right? I can't remember what you said for that one, but I asked if you preferred a different director like they did for the Potter series, as compared to having one vision with Peter Jackson for the Lord of the Rings series. I can't remember what you said once again, but for Bond, would you prefer to have had one director for the entire series, or do you like having different directors for every movie, or one to a couple and then swap out to another one?
I think this is a series that is kind of perfect for it to be however many the director wants to do. So, Martin Campbell, who did Casino Royale, did 1 or 2 earlier ones with Pierce Brosnan that, and then
that I didn't know.
And then kind of came into Casino Royale. So they were able to be like, all right, look, this is, somebody that we are.
He knows Bond. He knows the Bond
knows.
world.
Yeah.
Exactly. He can get it off the ground and running, and then someone else can take over after it.
Right. And I wouldn't be shocked if that's actually how the Denis Villeneuve stuff to go. I don't know if you're getting 3 Bond movies from him the way you got 3 Dune movies. I think it might be like a 1 or 2, and then that you can pass it off to the next person to say, hey, this is like a director that's really big right now. He's hitting his stride with Dune, and everybody's starting to really like his stuff. Let's get him on Bond while he's hot. and then we can pass the torch off to maybe a more unknown up and coming director and see how they do, or whatever.
In
Uh,
5 or 8 years, someone else is going to be
right,
the hot new director. We can
right.
move him in, and Villeneuve can go on to whatever he wants to do after that.
So with Sam Mendes, I don't know if it was something that I'll look into it because look, spoiler alert, we're gonna be doing these on my next few picks because of streaming options right now. So these are the safe picks right now. So I'll look into it more about like what happened with getting him, because like he does this one and the next one, but he doesn't do No Time to Die. And No Time to Die was kind of needing this movie. Let me just say real quick here is box office wise, $150 to $200 million budget, and it made $1.109 billion.
Yeah, I think it was the first one to cross the $1 billion.
The only Bond movie to cross $1 billion so far. And when we get to the ratings, like very well received movie. So you could be like, hey, that's why we're bringing him back, right? It made $1 billion. Let's keep the team together. Boom.
Yeah.
Spectre did not have that type of reaction. So maybe then it's like, oh, we need to kind of
freshen things up, shake it up.
Yeah, exactly. So I think having multiple directors can be a good thing for a franchise like this. When it comes to things like Lord of the Rings, like you mentioned, it's like one that's like a complete series of like the 3 movies. It's like just like that's cool. Do it that full vision so it feels connected and cohesive. When it comes to a Bond thing, like a Bond adventure can be like different in each movie, type of thing. So you could do something that fits more to this person's strength because it has like a car chase, or maybe this director is very good at like the like a shootout scene, or what I'm saying, like, and you can have them be at their strengths. But yeah, so that's my thoughts on that. Do you have a preference on stuff like that, or are you?
I think it might depend. Honestly, I think you kind of encapsulated that really well. It might depend on. So I think for Lord of the Rings, it was perfect to have Peter Jackson doing both Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, because that was one continuous set of things. Like The Hobbit was one book they broke up into 3 things, right? The Lord of the Rings, correct me if I'm wrong, was the same thing. It was one book they broke up into 3, or was it 3 separate books?
So it was written as one that was then broken out into 3 so it could be published because of how big they were, and then it got so it was one book that then was split into 3 for publishing, that then once people could publish stuff again, we're back into one book with the 3 of them, and then was filmed all as one thing and put together. Yeah. So it's kind of the same way for the movie.
I watched Harry Potter for the first time a couple years ago with a friend during the pandemic. We would have watch-alongs where we would kind of both start them together and watch. And I'm texting her stuff like, "What is this? Why is this kid living under the stairs? And what's going on? Who the hell is this giant dude?" Right? That wasn't my world. That was her. She loves the Harry Potter shit, and she helped me out with that. And while granted, J.K. Rowling created that entire universe, and that was a series of books that she wrote all herself. But I've never read the books, so I don't know, and maybe I'm just completely inaccurate. From what I gather from the movies, as Harry ages and goes through different things, that was more of a perfect situation to get a different director after maybe 1 or 2 movies, because there was 7 of them, I think, total?
8 movies, because they split the 7th book into 2,
But so 8 movies, 7 books. But those 7 books take up a period of time, but as he's get like those, and they had the same actors for Harry and I forget the other, but
Ron
as they're aging, Ron and Hermione, but as they're aging and going through different things, coming into their own, they're kind of going through different stages of young adult life and puberty and moving into adulthood. And maybe that is a picture perfect thing to get someone else to say, okay, because even from what I like, once again, didn't read the books, but the first one was one story. Prisoner of Azkaban, whatever one that was a little darker in tone than some of the other ones. Maybe that was just a choice that was made with the book or with the movie. I don't know if the book was that way, once again, because I haven't read it. But at least the movie, with a darker tone, was done well. Now, once again, we have HBO who's redoing that entire Harry Potter series. And who knows what the hell they're going to do with that. But so I think once again, to boil it down after I ramble here, I think it depends on what it is. Some things maybe you do need one singular vision of this is how I want to go from start to finish, especially if you're filming all of them together or back to back. Like if you're doing something like that, like Lord of the Rings, where you're filming them all together, you can't be having because they film stuff out of sequence anyway, depending on what they have and availability. You can't be having one director for a week and have another guy come in 2 weeks to film it like that. That's
because I think Ian McKellen said that his first day of shooting was like Gandalf's last scenes of the whole trilogy. It's just crazy.
Yeah, so I didn't know that until I was always under the impression they filmed the movie from start to finish.
Right.
Until when I went to school, I went to a school called New York Film Academy, and I did some on-set photography for students making their student films. And I worked with people, and I had to take some filmmaking classes and stuff, and editing classes and all that other stuff. And I worked with people who were making their own movies and things. And that's where I learned, no, man, they film stuff depending on either actor availability or set or prop availability.
Hey, this set's only built for 3 weeks, so we got to film everything here.
Or it's easier for us, sometimes it's easier for us to get it. We can destroy a set, have a set destroyed, and film that scene, and then build it back up, to the beginning later on. Or maybe actors are coming off of stuff where, like a Tom Hanks type thing, right? Where when he did Castaway, where he had to lose all this weight and drastically for the film, right? Obviously, it's probably easier to do those later scenes where he's really small, lost all the weight earlier. And then as he puts on the weight, and grow the beard out, and then as he puts on the weight, maybe you can trim it down and then kind of work backwards. So it all depends on what you're filming. But I didn't know that. I was like, what do you mean you film it way out of sequence? This doesn't make any sense. Then they broke it down again. I was like, okay, I guess it makes sense. It's not my
work. All right. So we get we start out, of course, pretty typical Bond here in the middle of a mission that is ending at this point, where he is going down this hallway. He enters a room. We see some bodies laying out, and a man named Ronson is bleeding. And what we get from this is that they are looking for a hard drive that was taken. And, Bond is trying to save this Ronson guy while MI6 is telling him, get moving. Got to get this.
It's not MI6. It's just M. M is the one telling him. He knew the risk. Hey, keep it moving.
And we get Bond getting into a car, going out to the street, gets into a car with another agent that we'll learn is named Eve later. We'll learn her last name later as well. We get a car chase that becomes a shootout, that then becomes a bike, a bike chase, and then gets onto a train. Yeah, a train roof sequence here. And when he hops on this train, he gets in one of those, I don't know what to call it. In my notes, I called it an excavator, where, I guess that's what it is, right? One of those cat machines.
Yeah, caterpillar machine. So my first question, and I've brought this up before, how the hell does he know how to operate this thing?
I'm assuming MI6, you got to know how to operate anything you can come across. So...
Look, I'm just saying.
Or you're guessing. Or you're just guessing in there, I guess.
He kind of knew what he was doing. He was able to get that thing moving and what he needed to do pretty well.
So one thing that's a little different here is, Casino Royale was at the beginning of his career. Quantum of Solace took place immediately after.
Yeah.
This has been some years in between, so he's a little bit more at the top of his game
He
at
went
the
and worked a
beginning here.
construction job for a couple weeks, learn how to run a
Yeah.
caterpillar. Like,
Yep.
I'm,
Or he's used this in another mission that then now this time he nailed it. Yeah.
I know I brought it up before where like he was piloting a helicopter, and I'm like, okay, a helicopter is really difficult to fly. Like,
Yeah.
maybe he learned how to fly it in whatever military service he had. Like, I will give him that.
Right.
But I was
Before he
just like,
becomes a
yeah,
00.
maybe he was a helicopter pilot or did something. Like, okay, I'll give him that. But like, not saying that a caterpillar, whatever this machine was, is more difficult to operate than a helicopter. But I was just like, come on, man. Like,
My favorite part of this though is when the villain is uncoupling the cars and then he uses it to Bond uses the excavator to like attach to the train again and then runs across it. And he gets this nice, like, he jumps into the train and like keeps his balance as he almost goes backwards, but like the back of the train is starting to come off and he like lands coolly and like fixes his suit as he's walking. I'm like, yeah, that's Bond. We get them fighting on the roof. They have to go through tunnels and they're like fighting in the tunnel still as Bond is trying to get this hard drive off of his neck. And we have, Eve is following in a car and she gets to a spot where she's going to be able to take a shot as the train is coming out of the tunnel. And, she's like, I have a shot. It's not a clean shot. And there's a lot of deliberating between this until M says, take the shot. Which then Eve protests still again, saying, I could end up hitting Bond here. And M says, take the shot. And we get her accidentally hitting Bond, who falls off the train and into the water. Cue the opening credits. What'd you think of the opening here with Bond getting shot?
Okay. So for a minute, this took me completely out of it because the way he fell from the height he fell into that water, he would have broke his neck, he'd be dead. There's no
Well, he's James Bond. He doesn't.
No, I don't care who you are. He's not surviving that. 2, because of like he was like passed out, and then he would have broke his neck and been like paralyzed, or he
right.
We later find out that the bullet he was hit with was depleted uranium. Okay, so I have some experience with depleted uranium because when I was in the Army, I shot commanded tanks for 15 years. Okay, depleted uranium is used for tank rounds, Bradley fighting vehicle rounds, or A-10 Warthogs, the tank killer airplanes that the Air Force have. I think they've decommissioned since. But those are some of our ground forces' best friends. Okay, their rounds were depleted uranium, right? Those things, depleted uranium is meant for highly armorized vehicles and things. Okay, like so a Sable round that a tank shot that has depleted uranium in it. The way the tank round is designed is it hits the armor, it peels through the armor, right? It goes through. It peels layers of depleted uranium off, and because of how fast it's going and the force it's going through, as it peels it off, when it goes through that armor, what's peeled off is kind of welded to the entrance hole and welds hot and shuts there. It's then meant to go through the other side of the armor, right? So like if you hit a tank turret, it's meant to go through in one side. As the depleted uranium peels off, it kind of welds there because of the heat and how fast it's going and all this other stuff, which is way beyond my realm. Makes the entrance hole, but it welds there. And then it's supposed to go through the exit hole, which is meant to be just like any round you shoot. The entrance hole small, the exit hole is bigger. Because of the force and everything it's going through, as it goes through the exit hole, it basically causes a vacuum and sucks. It's meant to suck everything that's inside out. Okay, so I did 3 tours in Iraq, and I did shoot a couple of tanks. But more of the tank battles that were during the Gulf War in 1991, when Jordan was but a wee lad. And those were actually like tank on tank battles in the middle of the Kuwaiti desert. And people I've talked to who were involved in the Gulf War said when they came up on these Iraqi tanks that they had shot with Sable rounds, their initial anticipation was that these depleted uranium rounds were going to cause an explosion. It doesn't, unless it hits the ammo that's inside the tank. And then it causes an explosion. What they found was, just exactly like I said, an entrance hole that's kind of welded shut, right? And then an exit hole. But then, and this might be graphic, but various body parts are pulled out through that exit hole. So like they would come up on a tank that looked like it was still functional, but then when they get to the other side of the turret where the round had went through, there's like an arm sticking out. And then there are various body parts outside of the tank that everything has been sucked inside out. I say all that to say, and this is my weird brain as I was watching this. Like, if he was shot with I don't even know if they make depleted uranium bullets. They might. I never had them. I'm not saying they don't. Like, just wasn't part of my thing. If he was shot with a depleted uranium bullet, probably not going to be much left of James Bond. Like, it's one of those between his neck breaking or him drowning or the fact that he was shot in the chest with a depleted uranium bullet. There might not be much of Bond left. And if he did manage to survive, it's probably going to be a very painful existence. And there's probably going to be like radiation poisoning and various other things. Because once again, uranium just went through your body.
Right.
So that's me with my weird brain that like took me out for a couple minutes, like especially later when he was like, as we talk about it, he was like, here, analyze this. Oh, it was a depleted uranium round. That's why I had to pause. I was like, oh, what the hell is that? But then I had to be like, okay, this is a movie. Just calm down. Just enjoy the movie for what it is. Outside of that, taking that apart, as I've said with the other 2 Bond movies I've seen, their cold opens are fantastic. You get some kind of suspense. You don't know what's going on. 007 pops in. There's fights. There's action. I think we had the Day of the Dead stuff in one of the other ones we saw, right? Chases and like it's they know how to get the movie started and get you into it like that. Like, you know, people have said like if you can't get someone into something within the first couple minutes or a certain period of time, like you'll lose people. Like people make James Bond don't have to worry about that. Like they got me in it. They lost me for a second, but then they got me back.
What's your familiarity with the Adele song? Did you know the song or when it came out?
A little bit, because remember we talked about it before. One of the other ones had like 2 people who did a song together. Like I think it was Jack Black and Alicia Keys. And
not Jack Black, it was Jack White.
Jack White, I'm so close.
For the White Stripes.
Yeah, Jack White,
not Jack Black of Tenacious D.
It might as well have been, right? And it didn't do that. It didn't do that well. And I brought up maybe
I think it was Quantum of Solace. I think it was that one because I think Chris Cornell did Casino Royale.
Yeah, but like, and I brought up like maybe had it been Alicia Keys or Jack White,
right?
Might have been more like just to give, because we talked about it before. Getting that James Bond theme song for the movie has been a big thing. Duran did it, had with View to a Kill. Madonna
McCartney, Live and Let Die.
Yeah, McCartney had it. I knew Adele had it. I think it was for Skyfall, and I heard like bits and pieces of it. I enjoyed this theme song. It's good. Adele. Like how Adele is just a phenomenal vocalist and singer.
This song played all the time in 2012. I mean,
it became like a chart-topping hit. It was a big thing. And then as I'm watching this, and I tried not to, but I did do some research as I was watching this. I saw she was like really pregnant when she made this song, so that made her voice a little more hoarse, husky. So she really liked how that kind of worked out with the song.
I didn't realize this. I didn't say the release date at the top like I usually do. November 9th, 2012. I am recording this 13 minutes Eastern Standard Time before November 9th. So
Yeah,
we're almost at the 13th anniversary here in a couple minutes on the East Coast. That's pretty cool.
but
That's
yeah,
in the US. Yeah.
the themes the outside of my picks that I had, the action sequence in the beginning was great. The theme song by Adele is fantastic, and once again, I like that they don't just have like a regular title card of like 007 James Bond, right? They make something special, a set of title cards, for each and every separate movie, and it's something completely different. And I really like how they did that.
Yeah, so we come back from Skyfall, the song, and we get London at MI6 3 months later here. And M is writing Bond's obituary, and she is
Why did it
called
take
it,
3 months?
you know, I don't know, classified.
Well,
I don't
I
know.
know Bond is kind of taking these little sabbaticals here or there before.
Yes, yeah.
So maybe they thought he was just taking a little time off.
I think the only reason I know it is 3 months later is because it comes up in, I think Tanner or somebody says it's been 3 months. So somebody says it or something, because I went back, because originally I left that spot blank on my notes, and then when it came up about it being 3 months, I went back and put 3 months later.
Yeah, because there
And
wasn't
I
no
don't
title
remember
card.
now.
There was no
Yeah, no.
card that said that. There was no, nothing visual to say that.
I think it was like when she meets the new secretary, played by Rafe Fiennes,
Yeah.
that they maybe he says about, I think it was like the list you lost about the NATO agents was like 3 months ago or something. Like 3 months ago, you lost this list.
Yeah.
I think it was something like that. But she gets called in to meet the new secretary, who I said is played by Rafe Fiennes here. And he is another tie to Harry Potter. He played Voldemort. So we have a little connection from our Harry Potter talk earlier.
We'll have another one later that I'm not sure you know about.
Oh, okay. We'll keep an eye on that. And he states the prime minister is concerned. The list that they lost on that drive that was mentioned earlier was a list of NATO agents who were embedded in terrorist organizations. So kind of like the worst type of leak you can have.
It's basically the knock list from Mission Impossible, the original Mission Impossible movie.
Yes, yeah.
Except it wasn't in 2 parts; it was 1 part.
And it's look, just be thankful that I guess all it took was a hard drive stealing, and it wasn't these people talking about it in a group chat on Signal or something, that had this happen.
Signal hadn't been invented at that time, so maybe
that's true. So maybe Bond 26.
Yeah, as well, one thing we've learned is as they go through time, right, and they kind of have to update between the technology and different things that they're doing, right? Maybe that's something Amazon is looking at, or whoever's writing this is going to have to incorporate classified and unclassified communications and hacking into WhatsApp or WeChat, whatever they choose to call it.
Yeah.
Right? So who knows?
But I really enjoyed this exchange with his name is Secretary Mallory, because he's kind of really putting M's feet to the fire here, and she's like, do you call this civilian oversight? And he's like, call it retirement planning. Like, he's pretty much saying, like, if how this is going, you're out, right? And M is pissed, and she is, she leaves the conversation here, but
he gives her flat out, says in 2 months,
yeah,
you're gonna retire, and of your own accord, and we'll give you your flowers and make it seem like you just had a great career, but you're pretty much done in this town.
Right. And we have then I think Tanner gets a hit that someone is trying to open up the hard drive. Like, they get notified that this thing is opening, and it's coming from MI6, from M's computer. And they're like, oh, that's interesting.
Okay, so as I watch this, and she's in the car, right, and that's popping up, like, oh, someone's accessing a hard drive, and I was like, I thought it was Bond. I thought, because when he's on the train,
got it or something, yeah,
when he's on the train and he's having the fight, right, like you can see the hard drive was like attached to the guy's wrist or his
Yeah.
waist or something. So I thought maybe because we see him fall and he falls in the water. So I thought maybe he was able to snatch it off before he
Right.
fell after he was shot. So I was like, oh, it's probably like I knew immediately. It's like, oh, it's gonna be coming from her office because I thought it was gonna be Bond in her office,
Like in her office, reporting for
trying to,
duty, like he does
yeah,
later.
like just trying to because especially if once he fell in the water, like maybe he's been trying to dry it out and trying to do whatever to get it. He didn't have a bowl of rice to put it in, so he's trying to get it fixed. So he's figured, okay, maybe if I go back to MI6 and they can decrypt it there. So I knew where, but I figured it would have been Bond who was like, oh, I'm back and I have the hard drive. And,
yeah. Nope. It has a message on her, like on the screen that comes up, that says like think on her sin, like think on your sins, right? And the cops stop M from going any further. They kind of get stopped there, and then the office blows up in front of them. And we then kind of cut to Bond being alive on an island somewhere. I guess it's on an island, right?
yeah.
Is kind of the vibe I got here. Could
Making
be like
love to some
Florida,
woman.
I guess. Because they get CNN. Because CNN's on here. So wherever
Wolf Blitzer is giving him his news, right?
Yes.
I figured because he's British and it was probably in Europe, figured it would have been like Star or be the BCC or
right. I'm
BBC
wondering. That's why I'm wondering if it was like more like an island around here, like in the Keys, maybe where they would.
They didn't say where his first mission was it?
No, I don't think so. Well, the first mission at the beginning, I don't know, because I think he was presumed dead and then like flew out to somewhere. I think he escaped.
Maybe, but I don't know where the first mission that they showed was. But
I think that was in Europe. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I was gonna say based on how the trains were, that had to be Europe because our trains are nothing like.
Oh, you know what? They might say where it is. Hold on, let me just double check here. Istanbul.
Okay. Yeah, so that fits with the whole Europe and Asia thing. But.
And let me see if it says where he is. 3 months later, Bond is.
Maybe a Greek.
It doesn't tell me where he is.
I imagine he's probably somewhere in Europe still. Because
now they do get CNN over there. I've seen them. They have a channel called like CNN International or something that they get. But
they do.
Yeah.
But I can imagine it. Even though yes, he's a super spy and he has access to be able to get papers and various other things. Can't imagine it'd be easy for. Well, you never know. If he would have popped up in the States, but you never know. So I imagine that island is probably some Greek island or Crete island somewhere in Europe.
But he's alive. He's on the island with a woman. He goes to a bar with some locals, and they do this. He's got like the scorpion on his hand that he's got to like finish this drink and then try to get the scorpion in the cup. I guess I don't know, some sort of high risk
local ritual
drinking game.
So that tells me it might be off the coast of like Africa or something.
Could be. Yeah. But then he's drinking all night. He's there in the morning, and that's when CNN comes on and talks about the attack, which grabs his attention. And
I'm just saying, man, to blow up MI6 headquarters, like imagine if they blew up the CIA headquarters in Langley or FBI headquarters in DC. Like that would be. I wouldn't say impossible to pull off because obviously we find out that this guy has connections and how he's able to do some of these things.
And he's a former agent as well, so he might have an in, yeah.
But like thinking of something like that is like Jesus.
Yeah, that would not be good. But M says she's going to find the people who did this. She goes home, and that's where Bond's in her house. Which is reminiscent to Casino Royale, where he's in her house, right? In one of the scenes. Her response is not like surprise relation. So where the hell have you been?
Well, yeah, you've been gone 3 months. I had to write an obituary for you. Like,
yeah. He says enjoying death. And then, 007 reporting for duty, and we get nice little hints of some music there, I think. But he is upset with her a bit of telling Eve to take the shot, and she's like, "Look, you're gonna have to be declared fit for field work." And they're taking him to the new MI6, which is underneath of it's down in what used to be part of Churchill's bunker, which I thought was a really cool touch that it was tied in like that.
Yeah, that was cool because I'm sure there's probably a bunch of those all throughout Europe and England from World War II
Especially England, because they were always getting bombed in that war, so they
and
had
World
to
War
have something.
II, and
Yeah.
then I mean, as old as London and as old as London is and everything they've had to go through, yeah, like I imagine there's sewer systems and tunnels and
Right.
various other things underneath.
But we get him kind of like struggling through the test, right? He has like the injury from where he was shot that he is, doing that. And they just kind of like
He can't shoot straight. He can't hit the
shoot straight.
target.
One of my favorite things though is when he is like doing one of the almost like a lifting thing or like pulling himself up, right? And uh Tanner leaves, and like as soon as he leaves, Bond just like collapses of like, oh my god, like he was really holding it together to look like he's not in any sort of like physical exertion, and then as soon as he leaves, he's like, all right, I can drop that act now. Like I am exhausted. And he meets with a therapist who they play a word association game here, and Bond is acing this. He's being very like sarcastic, witty to react, to certain words. But when they get to Skyfall, it does take Bond aback here, and we kind of get a hint of, ooh, that's something that we should keep in mind, I guess.
That has a special meaning, yeah.
And then Bond meets Mallory and M in the office, and Bond has passed the tests according to M. We will see if that is true or not. It's not. And then this is where they lost Casey here. They get the details back on the shrapnel forensics. But they're able to show Bond like 3 people that I guess that were known to use that weapon. I kind of forgot how they narrowed it down to 3. And then Bond's like, oh, that's the guy I fought. Yeah, I fought that guy. And they're like, oh, well, he's at this place. Then they're going to, send him out to do his mission.
He's gonna be in China, wherever it was.
Shanghai. Yeah.
He's gonna be in Shanghai in 2 days. So now when they brought up, because I guess the guy was being traced by the FBI and stuff, I thought our boy Jeffrey Wright was gonna come back in as whatever FBI agent.
Felix, yeah, not yet.
Nope, he wasn't in this movie. Spoiler alert, not here. So I was like, oh man.
Spoiler alert, not Inspector, but he is in No Time to Die. So we will get some Felix Leiter back. Okay. So he does make another appearance at least. You know what? He might be Inspector. I don't remember. I think he's only in 3, but so that would be No Time to Die. He's definitely in that one. And M sends Bond to meet up with the new quartermaster from Q branch, and that's where we meet Q. But right before that, Tanner says, oh, I didn't know Bond passed the tests. And that's when M says, oh, he didn't.
He didn't.
Which I like. I really like that she, even though she was the one that said, you're going to have to pass these tests, she ends up being like, you know what? Forget about it. I do think it is a thing of just she trusts him so complicitly.
They have a history. She knows what to expect. She knows he's going to give it his all, right?
And I know like Silva later on, Javier Bardem's character, kind of tries to twist it in a way of like, she threw you to the wolves because you failed this stuff and she thought you were going to die. Like, I definitely don't get that read from that. It's so much more of a
I don't think
trust.
It's that. I think she knows she's literally on borrowed time. Like whatchamacallit gave her 2 months. So she has a very limited amount of time to try and find out who stole this list and to try and get it back before all hell breaks loose. So I'm sure Bond is not the only agent she's working with, right? She probably has other double O's. But I mean, it's a James Bond movie. It's not 004's movie, right?
Right.
007's movie. So We don't care about the other agents. But like, so, but she implicitly trusts him more than anybody else. Like, so I can't say I blame her to be like, look, if I'm going out, if this is going to end horribly, I'm going to end it with my best people, right?
Right, right.
Or the people I trust the most. Where at least I
It's like
know.
when it's like when Pat Mahomes goes out there with like a fractured ankle or something. You're like, look, I'm living or dying by this guy going out there and throwing some
Well, with
TDs.
some quarterbacks, they'll say like say a Josh Allen, like 80% of Josh Allen is better than 100% of most other quarterbacks.
Right, right, right.
So it's probably the same thing. Like 75% of James Bond, 007, is better than 100% of most other 00s. So
Right, exactly. He is the guy. He is the franchise quarterback you build around. And Bond meets with Q at the museum and provides him with this cool new gun that has a special handle that has the palm sensor, so if only Bond can use it, which I thought was a really nice touch. And it does come up again later when somebody does take his gun, and he's just like, "Yeah, good luck with that."
yeah, good luck with that. I also like the and this is not the only time we'll get this, the shout out to the older movies. Or I don't want to say shade thrown at the older movies.
Oh yeah, when he's like,
but at least like they're at least acknowledging like the older movies. Is like, what did you expect me to come in a white lab coat? And he's like, what you think we're like you wanted an exploding pen? We don't do that anymore.
"Yeah, we don't
Like,
do that anymore." Exactly.
it's a nice subtle wink to the maybe there are people who've been fans of the James Bond franchise for years, right? Or people who might have seen other stuff. Where who's the guy from Monty Python who was Q during the older James Bond?
John Cleese.
John Cleese was Q, right? And he's a rather
I don't know if
tall
he was
guy.
Q. I think he was R or something, but he has been in. John Cleese was in other movies. Yeah.
And he's wearing a white lab coat and stuff like that, right? But like all the stuff we've seen with like Q, it's he's wearing a white lab coat and he gives them like exploding pens and like couplings that fire darts and like all these others.
Oh,
What we
you're
would
right.
call
John
like
Cleese. John Cleese played him in Die Another Day. Yeah, yeah.
we look at it as like silly and campy stuff now, but maybe for the time those were made, those would have been like top notch spy things, right? So, but once again, we have to modernize. So yeah, like we're not gonna send you out with some of that stuff might still be useful, but we're not gonna send you out with something from 1974. Like we're gonna give you modern technology to go out there with.
Right.
So I like how they did that, where they kind of were like, yeah, we know you've been waiting for this, but it's not what you expect.
Right. Yeah, so we have the introduction of Q. It's the first time he's appeared because he did not appear in the last two movies.
I don't know how I feel about like a 21-year-old Q though.
Yeah, I mean, he's just a tech guy. I feel like that's a very. This is 2012, by the way. This is a very like. You know what this reminds me of? If you've seen like Criminal Minds, the person that's the tech person in that, like, just like the quirky character with glasses that wears
Yeah.
like
So
outside of the box stuff is very like typical around this time.
so I can kind of understand Bond's hesitism of like, who the hell is this kid, right? But at the same time, like, so John Cleese would be in like his 70s or 80s, right? You want
Yeah.
like a 60-year-old, like, and not saying a 60-year-old can't do that job, but like a 60-year-old trying to give you modern technological stuff may not work.
They're the ones all believing the AI videos right now. We can't trust them to be a Q branch.
You know what? That may be the best argument against like a boomer trying to be the one to give you technology. Like he's probably still giving you tape recorders and stuff.
Right. It's like
he
his
would
idea of the radio is like this big.
He would give you, he would give you the exploding pen and invisible ink and stuff as compared to like what someone younger. So like I can understand, but it's just a little shocking to be like I can definitely understand Bond be like, wait a minute, what the hell?
Right.
Who the hell is this kid? And also it's just another thing that makes me feel so goddamn old. Like, now there's this 21-year-old kid giving you stuff. Like I can just see myself being Bond there.
Like, oh no.
I started doing stuff before this kid.
We're all being replaced.
Not even that. Just one of those like I was doing spy work before this kid was even born, for Christ's sake. And now he's my quartermaster. Like
we cut to Shanghai where Bond is swimming and he's waiting, for I think Pierce is the guy's name that he's waiting here. He then follows him and we get this he grabs onto the elevator actually as it takes the man up and uh we have Bond attacking him then and he falls to his death before Bond can get any real information here.
Because he couldn't hold on to him because his shoulder was still struggling from being shot.
Yes.
Also, how the hell did he get that gun through customs?
It's part of being a 00. I'm assuming like how a U.S. Marshal can carry weapons on. They can?
You can't be a super secret spy and be like a U.S. Marshal might be able to, but they have to declare stuff. And there's all kind of paperwork and there's logistical things that have to go through with that, right? Now maybe he hid it somewhere, and I don't know. Right. But also, like taking something like that to China, that's a whole nother thing.
Yeah.
You get caught with illegal stuff in China, like you're not gonna have a good time. But also the skyscraper that's massive. Like, how the hell does he know? He has to follow this guy, but he can't follow him too close up in the skyscraper. I lost me a little bit of some of this stuff.
Do you know what my notes refer to here? Because it's like I say, Bond looks across the street and likes what he sees. What am I talking about?
Oh, you're talking about the Bond girl.
Is that it? Was it? Is it Eve or is it a different Bond girl that he?
Oh, the one. It's the one we see in a couple minutes.
Okay, yeah. So it's Eve. All right, right? Is that or is it the one in the casino?
Yeah, the one in the casino.
That's what it is. Okay.
So yes, so
look, some of this I was watching last night, and that's where I stopped watching last night. So I was like, I don't know what my notes meant.
Yeah,
because then my next note is Bond's in his room and Eve arrives. So I was like, I totally should have wrote down more there.
But and like she ends up because I guess that guy that Bond ended up dropping to his death
was her
he was meant to kill.
Yeah,
he was meant to kill the guy she was with, right? And I figured that.
Oh yeah. It was in the other room. That's right.
He's in a room directly across.
Yeah,
two skyscrapers directly across from each other, and they set it up so he can get the perfect shot on this person, because as soon as he shoots and kills him, like the bodyguards and this girl don't even react. They're literally just they basically look across the way, like they knew this was going to happen. Take him out. The bodyguards basically just grab the body, pull the body out, and everything, right? And then our Bond girl here looks across the way, and at some point after Bond drops our man, he ends up giving like some sort of seductive pose because he's like laying on the. And I was just like, "Come on, dude, really?"
So then Bond is in his room, and that's when Eve arrives, and they say that the first 5 names have been released from the list, and like next week another 5. So like they're like it's a bit of a countdown here of all right. So only 5 have been released, which means 5 of them are probably going to be killed because they are going to be found out. They're going to be revealed, and that next week another 5 is going to happen. Eve comes in and helps him shave. A lot of chemistry going on here between Eve and Bond. He's got his.
There's going to be some sexy time.
Me too. I forgot that did not happen.
Maybe it did. We didn't see it. I don't know.
Could be, yeah, because then it cut them on the boat. So I mean, I guess
James Bond. He's kind of laying pipe all over the world. Literally. Also, Eve was taken. She's taken off of field duty after she shot Bond.
Yeah, and they had these nice humorous responses back and forth with it, where like especially like at the end of the movie where he's like, I feel a lot safer now, like when she's off the field work and stuff.
So let me ask you this: have you ever shaved or been shaven with a straight razor?
No.
Mm-mm. Okay, I've never shaved with a straight razor, but I am shaven with a straight razor. So once a month, I take a me day, right? And I'm actually going tomorrow. There's a little men's grooming place called Hammer and Nails, right? So I go there, I get like a manicure, pedicure, and and I get my beard,
Nice.
my mustache and beard groomed. Right, pay monthly subscription. I get so many credits a month and get to use it. But I get my beard groomed and shaved, and the barber there takes a straight razor and does trim up and shave and shape up my beard and everything. Right now, it's a straight razor. I inherently trust this man or woman, because I have had both, to shave me with a straight razor, including, as you're watching on the video, everything around here,
Right.
all the hair and everything underneath my chin down to my neck. I inherently trust them because that's their job and they're professionals at it, and that's what they do. However, I cannot watch or look or have my eyes open while somebody has a straight razor close to me, especially around my neck. Like it's one of those. Excuse me, as I'm laying back in the chair and they're doing their thing. They because they also give me like a little facial, and they
Right.
put the little eye cups on me, or I just have my eyes closed because like I know what you're doing. I just don't want to see it.
Can you get the cucumbers on you, or did they not do that?
No cucumbers. I wouldn't mind it, but like if you should check it out though, man. Like look, I will say up 10, 15 years ago, I thought a manicure and a pedicure was only something for women, right? It wasn't something I was into. One of my exes took me to go do it, and then I felt so amazing after getting it done, right?
You're like, I gotta keep doing this.
Well, I try, but it's hard to find a place because
Is it
especially like
monthly? You said?
I go monthly,
Nice.
but especially like a lot of salons and spas that do it are meant for women, right? And so they do the manicure and pedicure, but it's also a woman's spot. So I try and go like early in the morning. I would try and go early in the morning when there's nobody there because I kind of don't want to invade their space. Like sometimes
Right.
that's their place to just for them to have, and I understand that. Like I don't want to. Maybe they want to talk whatever they want to talk about, or they want to talk bad about men, or they just don't want to be around men at all. Whatever the reasoning is, right? I get it. That's their place, and I don't want. And then so they do have these men's grooming places out there, right? And um, the city I live in is called Palmdale. For a while, the closest one was in North Hollywood, which was like an hour and like 20 minutes.
Damn.
I was like, I'm not going that far. And then they opened up one which is like 40 minutes away where I work in the city I work in. Because I have like a 45-minute commute. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, I mean, I have to take that drive every day anyway. So why not? And once again, 15, 20 years ago, I'd have been like, oh, it's only for women. Men don't get manicures, pedicures. But I'm on my feet all day, walking.
Right.
I take like 15 to 20,000 steps a day, delivering mail. There's some who take up to like 40 to 50,000 because some of them are like 15 miles worth of walking or whatever. I don't have that much, but it's still a lot. And I use my hands all day, even though I wear gloves. My hands just end up gnarled. And I just need to take care of myself. And it's important. Like, there's a public service announcement. You'd be surprised how good you feel, how good it feels afterwards to get something like that. And it's definitely something men should be more into. And like they have a place, and it's meant for men, so they have like a little bar there. You can have a drink while you do it.
Oh wow.
Stuff. They have TVs and stuff and noise
Got the
canceling
sports
headphones.
on.
Well, like they'll have TVs with like streaming services and noise canceling
Oh,
headphones.
nice.
So you can like, watch Peacock or Hulu or, whatever. I just sit there and chat with whoever's doing my services. And that's it for a while. But you should check it out. It's definitely something worth trying. But like I said, say all that to say, I've had straight razor around my neck. Even though I trust them, it is goddamn frightening because it's like one slip up, I could be done for. But
yeah, I don't even use a real razor. At this point, I just trim. I just trim it, and
I use like a Gillette, myself.
I don't even do that.
To
No.
do my own things, but once a month I get the professional thing done. But like I said,
I think the only time I used a real razor or close to it was my wedding day, and then other than that, I used to have like a electric shaver that I would get, that I would try to do all the way through, and now I just always leave it like this and just trim because I just don't have time for it.
it's just
So I don't even know really, like I've never like cut myself shaving like people have. Like I don't really understand that stuff. So I haven't really experienced that. So
but check it out. It's called Hammer and Nails. They have them all
I'll
over
look
the
it up.
country. They do they do some great work, and it's a pretty interesting thing, and it's a nice way to relax and take some me time and come out feeling refreshed.
Yeah. Just pop James Bond on while you're there and, go to town. So then, so he's all dressed up on the boat to like this casino on the water.
Tuxedo
Uh,
time, baby.
yeah, Bond goes in, he tries to cash the chip that he found from Patrice. That's the guy's name. I said it wrong earlier, I guess. And he gets like this suitcase of cash, and they're like, here's some more chips, compliment of the house type thing. During this, we get to see the lady that he saw across the street is watching and kind of staring him down.
We
She
see some
comes down.
Komodo dragons in a pit.
Yeah, and they'll come back around in this. But she comes down. She's like, I've been waiting to see who would cash the chip. And, she gives her a name and she says, Mr. And we get the James Bond line here.
I've been waiting 2.5 movies for that.
It happened in Casino Royale. I don't think it happens in Quantum of Solace.
Well, it happened in Casino Royale at the very
at very end.
like I've been waiting 2.5 movies to catch that, like in the middle, like in the middle. Yeah, like during the movie to be like Bond, James Bond. Like just do the thing for us. Like you're here for one thing. Do the thing.
I'll tell you, which one was really satisfying? This one was satisfying, but like seriously, when I was watching the first Sean Connery movie, it happens in such an organic way in that one where I could feel it coming. And then I'm like, oh, it's going to happen. It's going to happen right here. And it did. And I was like, yes, all right, let's go.
We didn't get the martini thing either.
No. He takes her to get a drink though. And she's like, I'm right in assuming you've killed Patrice, and, they have a conversation. He's like, hey, I want to meet your employer. But later he catches on. He says, look, you put on a good show, but since we sat down, you haven't stopped looking at the guards. I know when a woman is afraid and pretending not to be. So he kind of puts two and two together. Maybe she was like a previous like sex worker due to her tattoo. That was then
like probably when she was a teenager or something.
And she lives in fear.
Say this. Amazon better not mess up the Bond girl thing, because the women they have had for Bond girls in the movies I've seen, or the Bond girls I've seen, are pure smoke shows. Like, Jesus.
Yeah, they've been good.
Didn't dig the smoking, but I might
right.
I might be able to deal with that with her. But yeah, like I mean, going back to like Tanya Roberts, Halle Berry, Denise Richards. We had Eva Green in Casino Royale.
Yeah.
Like,
and we what was her name in the other one? She's a model.
I just know, like, and I know some people think it's an antiquated thing. We don't need to have that. Look, let us have this one. We need the Bond girls in the movie.
I mean, yeah, we got to see Daniel Craig with his shirt off and stuff. So I mean, there's something for everybody. There's something.
I'm not even saying we need nudity. I'm just saying
right.
I'm not even like.
No, I'm just saying we have female and male gays in these movies. Olga Kurylenko is who she is from Quantum of Solace.
I mean, we talked about it for Casino Royale, that like initially they wanted Eva Green nude in that shower scene where she like freaks out after Bond kills people, and Daniel Craig was like, no, if she's really this traumatized, she's probably not going to strip down to get naked to get showered or like freak out. Like, so
I don't think so, and I also don't think like if she was nude, we probably still wouldn't have seen anything, because these are like PG-13 movies. But you want the actor to be comfortable.
But and Eva Green has done nude scenes. I don't think she'd be uncomfortable. Yeah. Like, these aren't necessarily for titillating things, but like these are just incredibly beautiful women. Like, throw us a bone. Just Amazon better not mess up the Bond girl thing. Like, that's one way that will turn the crowd against them. If they get rid of or mess up the Bond girl thing somehow, like,
I think that the most likely Bond 26 is going to have all of the gun barrel scene. It's gonna have James Bond. It's gonna have the Bond girl. It's gonna have all the stuff. I
They
think
gotta throw
because
all that stuff in the initial
yeah,
one.
they're gonna throw it in. They're gonna throw it in. I think they will. And this actress that you're talking about here is Bernice Marlowe, French actress. Is who plays Seravine. Is her name here, or Severine is the correct way to pronounce that. But the guards stop him as he's leaving because she warns him like, "Hey, they're supposed to kill you when you're leaving."
Before we get to that, we also, what's her name is in the casino with him.
Yes, yeah. And when he's going into this room, like they're having that nice talk back and forth, and he drops the earpiece into the. But he drops the earpiece into her drink.
But yeah, she managed to get. I'm trying to figure out how did she get into the casino. Once again, I know it's MI6. I probably have way.
She's another good-looking woman. They let her in.
Those are like a dumb.
They probably forged some sort of thing to get her in, right? Like,
or we know MI6 has a budget, so like they gave up millions of dollars for the Casino Royale poker game. Yeah, so
yeah,
sure they can work some things out, but like
right. But the guards stop him as he's leaving, and they fight. This is where they fall into the pit with the Komodo dragon, and this is where the guy grabs the gun, right? And it doesn't work.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Yeah, good luck with that.
But he never got the gun back.
Well, it was just for this one scene. Set up. Boom. Because they would have taken it off of him. They would have taken it off of him when he gets captured later, right?
Probably. But remember what Q said. He's like, can you bring everything back in one piece?
Oh,
he
true.
Didn't even bring the gun back.
He's never bringing this stuff back.
But I haven't seen one live, but have you ever seen like an actual Komodo dragon, like pictures of them, or like?
I've seen pictures. I don't know if I haven't seen them in person. I don't think
those things are extremely dangerous too. Like,
yeah. Well, that's tell it to this guy. He gets attacked. Bond is going to step on one to get off to get to the bridge because there's more than one. There's like 2 or 3, I guess, down there. And he's about to get shot by somebody on the bridge when Eve comes in and puts a stop to it. So she saves him there.
She gets the money.
And he gives her the money there. He goes to meet Severine at the dock where she was saying she's going to be docked. And I mean, look, when you're Bond, this is pretty suave. He just goes in the shower with her.
Well, initially, because she's like, we leave in an hour, and then we see her bodyguard or whatever pop up. It's like it's time to it's time for us to.
So she's thinking he's not.
Yeah, and he's not there, right? So maybe he knocked the guard out and then popped on, or he swam up. I don't know. Once again, James Bond is laying pipe all over the world. I had 2 questions initially. Number one is, how is there not any other little James Bonds running around? And then I realized, because every woman he sleeps with dies a horrible death.
Pretty much.
I think literally every Bond girl ends up dying. Every woman.
Yeah. So he didn't sleep with the one from Quantum of Solace. So it would literally just be, I guess,
he did sleep with one of the women though. I can't remember who.
Oh yeah. The Strawberry Fields, and she was like covered in oil and she died. Yeah.
Yeah,
that's what happened.
That's what I'm saying. Like every woman.
Yeah, you're right. She died.
And then I also said,
Bond girl.
since he is literally laying pipe all over the world, how has he never contracted an STD?
He's safe. Right. He gets tested.
Once again, he's laying pipe all over the world.
They're getting tested. Everybody's getting tested.
MI6 must have a great health plan. They must have some pretty good antibiotics because.
Yeah. Who's to say he hasn't contracted one, really? I mean, you're just kind of assuming.
I don't know. I'm just saying, like, with all the lovemaking he's doing, like,
he just doesn't learn his lesson. He's like, you know what? I'll risk it.
Not only that, but after like the third or fourth woman I slept with gets killed in a horrible death while I'm
You're
on a
like, maybe
mission,
I should stop. Maybe it's
at some point,
cursed.
there's one common denominator in all this. The common denominator is me.
You know how we were
Like,
talking about in Boogie Nights, his penis was like the gift. This one is the curse. It's the James Bond one here.
you know what I thought of for Boogie Nights that we didn't talk about last episode? When Buck, we talked about how what would you do if you were Buck during that situation during the robbery? Would you take the money? Imagine how freaked out Buck's wife was.
He comes out covered in blood. Yeah.
He's in this nice, pristine white suit to go get some donuts. And she's incredibly pregnant. And not only does she hear the gunshots because they're parked on the side of the donut shop,
right?
But then he comes back covered in blood and brain matter. Yeah. He's like, we got to get the hell out of here. Like, she might have went into labor right in that car right there after that.
Or she was oblivious to it and she's like, what? Something happened to the strawberry filled one? Why are you covered in it? But yeah, so back to Bond here. Back in London, Em and Mallory are watching on the news, and this is where another agent has been killed that was undercover, showing on the news. Like, you know, the person about to get their, they cut before they do it on the news, of course. But you see the person, the bag over their head, they're about to execute them.
Look, that's what they showed on the news. But as many of us who were alive during the early 2000s and of age knows,
oh yeah, the internet probably had a.
Oh yeah, no, I guarantee you there would have been actual footage of
yeah,
the execution because there was Al Qaeda and ISIS executions that were shown on the internet from people who were captured and killed through various horrible means. And I made the mistake of watching some of them, and that was not a good idea on my
part. Back on the boat, they're approaching this abandoned city, abandoned island, and the crew tie up Severin and Bond. Though at this time, Bond actually triggers the radio as well.
So they just let him like go buck wild on the boat, and then decided like, okay, we're gonna pull the guns out at like once we get close to the island. Like,
yeah, I think it's something of like, in my mind, what it was is we're letting them think we're on their side right now, and then as we're approaching this thing, the only place they can go right now is there. So we're just gonna now, while they're facing and have nowhere to go, we're gonna turn our guns on them and tie them up.
It could also be a situation of what's his name, knew Bond with like knew of Bond, like he obviously knew of Bond, knew he was he had many of these things planned,
right?
So maybe he was like, this is gonna happen. Just let him do it or whatever. I don't know.
But they capture Bond. He's captured in this room with like a bunch of computers and wires, and we get introduced to Silva, played by Javier Bardem, and he tells a story about these rats that fall into a trap and end up having to kill each other because they're not put out of their misery. So they are alive, and the only things they can eat are each other. Until there was 2 survivors, and the story kind of comes back around. Of course, at the end, Bond makes a reference to it. And this is where he reveals to Bond that M lied about passing his tests, and he's going to kind of have him finish his tests by following him to the statue where Severin is tied up. And he puts like this, glass of shot glass of whiskey on her, or scotch, I guess. I don't know if they're the same. I don't drink. But scotch on her head, and it's like, hey, we're gonna redo your marksmanship test. You get to redeem yourself here.
He pulls a William Tell.
Yes, Bond is very. He doesn't really. Yeah, hesitant, doesn't look up to it, and ends up missing while Silva really misses, but shoots Severine, which is probably his whole goal. I don't think he was actually trying to get
Yeah.
the cup there.
Once again, every woman he sleeps with, just horrible death. After she was beaten prior
Yes, yeah,
to.
she had a bloodied face and everything. Bond says that's a waste of good scotch, and then this is where he makes his move here, and he knows MI6 is right around the corner, I guess, at this point, and fights the other bodyguards. And Silva's like, "What are you gonna do? Take me in all by yourself?" And then that's when Bond says, "Oh, I'm showing off the latest tech from Q Branch. It's a radio." And this is the radio he flipped on earlier, and I guess it tracked his location, and uh,
This is like a
boom, they
picture
arrive.
perfect, like you and what army, and then the entire
Yes,
army shows up.
this army. Yeah, and but this is what Silva wanted the whole time, is what we're gonna learn here. But we also learn his backstory when MI6 brings him in. That he used to be a member of MI6, and he is an
Worked with
agent
him,
that thinks
former agent
M
with him.
betrayed him. Yeah, yeah. Back in, I think it says 97 or 99, that something 97 in Hong Kong. She gives him up to the Chinese government. I think she says his real name was like Tiago Rodriguez or something.
Yeah.
But
So
now he is Raul Silva.
not gonna lie, initially I wasn't a fan of Sylvia.
Bardem. Yeah.
When he first appeared, I was just maybe it was the accent. I don't know if that is Javier Bardem's
I think
actual
it's the blonde
accent,
hair for me.
or if that's an exaggerated accent he put on for Silva. Maybe it was the blonde hair and the blonde eyebrows that were like really bleached. Like I noticed
Yeah.
that at some point, like the eyebrows were way over the top. But initially, I was like, I'm not getting this guy. Like I'm not feeling him. So I had to do a quick googling. Like, yeah, people really enjoy like Silva as a villain. And apparently, like I was like the 0.01% who didn't like Silva at first because I read like he was like really well loved, and I was like, hey, maybe there's more. Like I mean, I have to keep watching the movie anyway. But
Right.
yep, maybe I'll leave this door open. Maybe I'm wrong. And eventually, yeah, I was wrong. But initially, I was just like, I don't know. Maybe, like I said, maybe it was just his
I
look.
no, I would
Maybe it
probably
was
agree.
the
I agree
accent.
with you. I think it's the introduction. I think it's the look. Silva probably has these dyed blonde hair to as a disguise, because he is somebody that was presumed dead, and that was, like, uh that's
He's a
probably part of it. But it looks off when you see him.
and
Like,
he's a
I know
former.
how I know who Javier Bardem is. So seeing him as like full blonde, it was like you said, even with the eyebrows, you're like, this is off. Like, something looks off here.
And I mean, he would have to do that because we know London and England has a lot of CCTV.
Right,
They do a lot of facial recognition, and in many other places they do. So I'm sure if he just kept his normal face and was picked up, like MI6 would have been able to be on him quickly. Like, wait a minute, you know.
yeah.
Okay, so it wasn't just me. So you
No,
felt the same way initially. Okay.
I did. Yeah. I think it takes a bit to really get into him here.
You see, he put in a lot of work, and he did a lot of work to get to do what he was trying to do. So man,
Yeah.
like I also had to put in. I had to give him like an A.
I think the performance is fine. I think it's like, I don't. It just is a little off when he's introduced. I think is
Like you
just,
said, maybe it's just the blonde hair and then the eyebrows that
it could
really
be.
just overdid it. But the eyebrows really overdid it for me. I'm not gonna lie. Once I
Yeah.
saw how blonde the eyebrows were, I was like, "What is going on?"
So we get so he is telling M, like, say my real name, right? And she doesn't, not to him. But this is when then she kind of tells Bond, like, okay, look, I did give him up. Because he was
She
kind
got like
of,
6 agents back or something because
yeah,
he
it
was
was like,
going rogue. He was going rogue. He was doing
he was like hacking China, and
yeah, he
like,
was hacking China on his own or whatever, and he went
yeah.
rogue. So look, I'm not saying what she did is right. I don't know exactly how that works, But
But
if they
that's her
come up,
call, right? Like that's what her job is, to be like, look, if this guy's causing issues and I can get 5 agents back,
not only
that's what
that,
I'm
but
gonna
if he's
do,
starting
right?
to
Like
go rogue while
that
he
could
was
cause
employed with
escalate.
MI6,
Yeah.
where does it stop? And at what point does he kind of like we got to put a stop to this at some point? If we let
And it
it
could
go,
escalate tensions between, like yeah,
next thing you know,
it's
World
one of
War
those
Three
things.
is happening.
Right, right. No, I think she made the right move, but it's one of those things that doesn't come across well, right? Especially when you're talking to another agent of yours, where you're like, I mean, yeah, he's right. I did do this thing. It's like, but I'm not going to do it to you, Bond. Right? Like, it's like, oh, okay,
Right.
yeah. But Q looks into the computer, and Silva kind of hacks into it from the, not really him, but I guess it's like a timed release thing where because he's captured. But Silva's able to escape, and Bond follows, and he's like, he wanted us to catch him and use this computer.
Before that, when he tells the story of him being captured and he held it together for so
Oh
long,
yeah,
and then he remembered he had a cyanide capsule in his tooth. So he tried to do what they were trying to do, bust a
yep.
cyanide capsule, end your life, which I just listened to last podcast on the left, the 6-part series on Heinrich Himmler,
Mm.
who kind of did the same thing. A lot of the Nazis during World War II, when it came time for the Nuremberg trials and various things, did the same thing and got a hold of
I
cyanide pill. And
I always think of Captain America: First Avenger because there's the guy
yeah,
that takes the pill right in front of, like, he bites
it
his
was in his
tooth down
tooth.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
but
just like
we find out Silva tried to do the same thing, but it didn't take.
yeah. It was like, I
So,
guess, a faulty cyanide. I don't know.
or maybe his body was too strong. I don't know, but he lived obviously, and then it totally damaged his face.
Yeah.
Like he
Like
pulls out.
even like his cheekbone, like when he takes out his teeth, like you see that sink in.
Yeah, like
Looks really weird.
he shows you. He's like, you want to see what cyanide does to you, and then we see that, and it's like, oof, that's a rough one.
Yeah. And then he like laughs about it. He's like Joker or something. He's like kind of crazy.
I think that might be where it turned for me, honestly. And when he
Like
managed
for
to
him,
escape,
yeah, yeah.
where I was like, okay, maybe there's more to this guy than his horrible blonde eyebrows.
Right, right. But yeah, so there, he is chasing him. He goes through the tunnels. They end up in the subway, and we get this part where like a train is coming, and he barely makes it through to, like, because the door's stuck.
He was like,
And
just
then
put your back into it.
yeah, I love Q saying that. Yeah, just put your back into it. He's like, Bond is like, come on, man. He ends up having to shoot it, shoot the locker or something. I don't know. I don't know how it works. It looks like they just shot the door, but I don't know. And we get Silva getting a bag from some of his men that are dressed as security or cops, and it's a change of clothes, which now
Yeah, he
he is dressed
has
up
he
as
has
a cop.
connections all over the
Oh
place.
yeah, it's crazy. I don't know how. It's a very typical Bond villain thing, I think, where it's like the bad guy has like an army of people that they're sending out everywhere. There's all these connections, but
He
you're
gets a
like, how did he
goddamn
get that?
military. He gets a goddamn military helicopter later.
Yeah,
Like
I'm guessing because of his connections as being a former agent, he's turned people to his side. I don't know. Um, but he's looking for Silva, Bond is, and Q finds him on the cameras. I love this exchange where he's like, "Do I have to get on the train?" He's like, "I don't know yet. Like, wait a second." And then of course, it's right after the train starts moving.
yeah,
He's like, "Bond, get on that train." And Bond's like,
god damn it,
sighs. He's like, "God damn."
god damn it.
And jumps on there. And there's this guy and his wife who are just watching. And he's like, that guy was like really keen to get on that train. And he has to pull the whole, like, what's he say, like health and safety or something when he gets on there.
Meanwhile, M has a inquiry that she's being
Yes.
grilled
Yeah,
at.
she gets called to this inquiry with like the prime minister and all the secretaries. That Mallory is there,
Yeah,
of course.
the members of parliament and like their
Yeah,
subcommittee, however they do it there with their subcommittees and you know,
and Bond tells Q like, "Hey, Silva's looking for M. Like, you need to get her out." So Q sends that to like Tanner, who is next to her, and he's kind of like, "Hey, we gotta, yeah."
he's
This
escaped.
happens.
He tells her Silva's
Yeah.
escaped. You need to get to safety immediately, but she can't just like she's already being grilled because she basically lost a list of undercover
Yes.
agents, right?
People are
She
dying.
she's in charge. Like she's in charge. 6 agents died when the MI6 headquarters exploded, right?
Right.
She's in charge when this list has gone out. Those 5 agents have been killed, right? So now there's at least 11 deaths we know of that are kind of hanging on him here, and they're trying to figure out like why should you even be in charge anymore? So she can't just be like, look, so yeah, the guy who stole the list just escaped. I got to peace out because he's coming after me right now. So because
This is
even the
kind
member
of
of
thing.
parliament's like, are we bothering you here? Like, what's
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. This is the kind of thing that happens in like TV shows when it's like a student in a classroom that's like being bothered by this other student, and the one that gets in trouble for it is the one that didn't initiate it, and it's
yeah?
always the, "Are we boring you over here?" Is exactly, take that and put it into this. That's exactly what it is here. And you're right. It's not like M can just even get up and just be like, "I gotta go," right?
Hey,
Like, because
everybody needs to roll out. There's a crazy guy coming to kill
yeah, now if
everybody.
she
So
said that, that would help. But if you're just gonna say, just get her out of there, she can't just like leave. Like, they'd be like, "Where are you going?" Uh, but we get Bond and Silva chasing throughout the subway station still, and then he's going up this ladder, and he does the repeat of the radio line, and blows up part of the subway track to Bond's right, and a train comes in, and Bond has to
get the hell out of the
kind of
way.
take cover. And then he gets into an ambulance and just, kind of meshes in with all of the stuff going on with the first responders. And uh, he is heading towards M, that building that she's in. Mallory is going to save M here, and Tanner is going to help kind of get her out. But while that is going on, uh, Bond has to come in, and they do like this nice shootout with him shooting the fire extinguishers and like the making it all foggy.
You know what I thought of? This is some video game ass shit right here.
It is, yeah, yeah.
This and then a scene later with some red explosive stuff. Like this came straight out of a video game. Of
I
like,
can see this
oh,
being like a mission on like
Uncharted
it,
or any sort of
that's
video
what I was gonna
game.
say. It reminds me of like Uncharted type thing, yeah, where you're
Like,
like
oh, shoot the fire extinguishers to get some sort of smoke
cover.
cover. Yeah. And later in a later mission, shoot the red exploding barrels, right?
Right. But yeah, so Mallory saves them. Tanner gets her out, gets her into a car, and Bond just takes off with her. He's driving. He's like, "Just me and you. This is just all we're doing. It's just me
I
and you."
recognized a license plate from earlier, so I was like, when I saw when he got up to the bill, or when Bond got out and he saw the car, and then once they put M in the car and it took off, I was like, oh, Bond knows her car, so he's the
Oh,
one
okay.
driving.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
didn't think it was
You put it together.
I didn't
Yeah,
think it was Silver or anything. I kind of knew
yeah.
right away it was Bond. So I was like, because I recognized the license plate, I was like, oh, okay.
He says, "Time to get out in front and change the game." And he tells Q to like chart a, leave a course that like leave trails
Do
that
some
only
breadcrumbs.
Silva can follow. But they're gonna get out and switch cars to the Aston Martin, and the Bond theme kicks in, and it's a really like hell yeah
I,
moment.
I waited 2.5 movies for this. Like when I
Yeah,
played this back like 4 or 5 times. When like he busted open the garage door and there's the Aston Martin and
yeah,
then the Bond theme played, and I was like, made me wait 2.5 movies for this.
yeah. It's a good moment. It's a when you hear that theme start kicking in, you're like, okay, this is
that
This is great.
guitar riff or whatever it is has got to
Yeah.
be one of the most recognizable movie themes out there, along with like the Mission Impossible theme,
Right,
maybe
right,
like
right.
Star Wars. But like I heard it, doom, doom, doom. I was like, oh yes, clap. I rewound
Yes.
it like 3 or 4 times. I was like, yes.
So they go to Skyfall, which is where Bond grew up. She tells him orphans always make the best recruits. Kind of a twisted way of looking at it, but it's true, I guess.
I guess. I mean, if you don't really have, if you kind of live life on your own and always had to find a way to make do, and maybe you don't
You
have
can
any
kind
family
of,
holding you back, like,
I was gonna say, you can kind of prey on them a little bit in the sense of we're your new family, so we get your full devotion because you don't have anybody.
or just you might be more.
We're the ones that saved you or rescued you from this
I look at it
life.
more. You might be more inclined to indulge in risky behavior.
Could
Um,
be, yeah.
if you're, you grew up in that rough and tumble type of life, and you don't really have anything to go back to, where it's like, hey, if I die, I die. Like, okay, as compared to like someone who might have a mom and dad, brother, sister, aunts and uncles, and various other
Right.
things.
Something to lose.
Yeah. Hey, do I really want to go on this mission? I don't know. This Komodo dragon. Last guy when there was
Yeah.
a Komodo dragon ate a dude. Like, oh, no, I'm not going out there. Like, what are you talking about?
They meet a man named Kincaid, who is the game master of the premises. Everything was being sold due to thinking Bond was dead, but they only have Bond's father's rifle left.
Okay, before we go any further, do you know the story behind Kincaid? Is that in your notes?
No, I don't think I have that in my notes.
You know who it was originally supposed to be?
Was it supposed to be like Sean Connery or something?
It was. It was originally supposed to be. He wrote. Who was the director?
Mendes, Sam Mendes.
Mendes. It was meant to be a cameo by Sean Connery. Because think about it, it's in Scotland, and but he did an interview later where he changed his mind because he said it might have been too confusing for the audience because, especially for a large population of the audience, Sean Connery is 007. And now you have two 007s. You have two James Bonds in the same movie. So some people would have just loved like the cameo and his appearance as this game
Right,
warden,
right.
right? For Skyfall. But some people would have been like, wait a minute, because then there's a whole thing about his, do they retire? Is 007 just code name?
Right.
He's on code name, blah, blah, blah. But, and he was like, it might have been too confusing for a good portion of the audience to have Sean Connery there because they're like, wait a minute. So does that
Yeah,
mean
so yeah, I'm seeing it seems like they briefly considered it, especially because it is the 50th. This was the
it was
50th
a, yeah,
anniversary for the movie for Bond, and
he decided
yeah,
against it. Like, it wasn't right.
disengage the audience is what it says. Yeah, like it could
So,
make them pull it out. It could pull you out of the movie. I think
but
would have
I
been
wouldn't
cool
have. I thought it would have been cool. I wouldn't have minded, especially later where he's like, "Welcome to Scotland."
though.
Like that
Yeah,
would have been like a, we got the my horrible Sean Connery impression last season, the season before. Welcome to the Rock. Like I think it would have been a cool
yeah,
moment,
because we
but I can.
actually did. We did Casino Royale, then The Rock, and then Quantum of Solace. So we were in like a Connery Bond
Yeah, because there was
there live.
a thought that like Sean
There's
Connery's
that fan
character in The
theory.
Rock
Yeah,
is like America. The Americans have captured 007 and James.
Bond. Yeah,
But so I can understand why he did not go through with it.
right.
I didn't see anything whether it was even offered to Connery or
I
not,
don't
or
think
whether
it
it was
was
told back beforehand. I
from
know
what
at
I'm
this
reading,
point,
but
I know at this point Connery had kind of retired from acting. He had a really bad experience with League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, and that was his
oh,
last
okay.
thing. He was like, I'm done. That's it. Either the movie was bad. I thought the movie was bad. It was okay. But either he had a bad experience with the movie or the movie just did horribly and he was like, no, that's it. I'm done with this. I'm Sean Connery. I don't need this anymore. I can just live off being Sean Connery. And kind of that's what
Right,
he did
right.
from that point forward. So I can understand why he didn't go through with it. But I think it could have been a cool alternate history moment if they bust in and he he walks out behind the shadows and it's Sean freaking Connery. Like,
Yeah, that would have been cool.
especially after we just got the Aston Martin and the
Yeah,
theme
yeah.
song. Like,
Bond does some target practice, and he's able to hit stuff better now. There's some tunnels underneath. There's a tunnel underneath the house that'll come into play here, and that Kincaid shows M. And they prepare the house.
they've got dynamite. And they've got some
Yeah.
things set up. Oh,
What
also,
did you think of what did you think of this? Because I put out a thread on Threads. On one of my accounts saying like, "Hey, I'm watching this movie today. What's everybody's thoughts on Skyfall?" This scene for some people doesn't work. They call it a poor man's Home Alone.
I can understand that. Before we get to that, I love the shout outs to all the old James Bond stuff. We got Aston Martin, we got the theme song, he flips up the gear shifter and it's got the eject button, and M is like, because M is complaining or whatever.
Yeah,
And he
she's like,
flips it up
"Eject
and she's
me."
like, "What are you gonna do? Eject me?" So we get like all the shout outs to the old school, which, like I said, right after that is when we get Kincaid. So like it would have been perfect for Connery, but I get it. I can see it being a poor man's Home Alone, but they're in like the Scottish Highlands. They don't have any weapons. Like they have minimal stuff, so they're doing what they can. But they have Aston Martin that has machine guns in it. So hey, let's use that.
I think it's I can kind of see, like, I never thought of it that way until I heard people say that, and then I watched it, and I was like, I can kind of see that, like, yeah, it's the same sort of thing of like we're inviting the person to our turf, and we're
they have the
booby.
home field. They have the home field advantage. You know, they have.
I think it feels justified when you're looking at, like,
Yeah.
I think they justified in the script of there's only one real gun, and you have to do what you can with the rest of the materials. So I like the thing that they do with like the floorboard where they put like, I don't even really understand what they did with that, where it's like some shells underneath of it, right? And when they step on it, it like kicks off the
I know they have like
shells or something. I don't know.
Yeah, they have something with the lights where when they turn the lights on, there's like some
Yeah, it was something that she
improvised
put in
explosive
there. Yeah,
devices that have screws and stuff
yeah,
for shrapnel. So when they walk under them, she turns the lights on, like they'll blow up. I mean, they're making best with what they have. Like they're making do with what they have. You know,
yeah.
they don't have an army, they don't have an arsenal. The other guy we find out has a goddamn helicopter with a freaking machine gun, like
Right, right.
you know. So they're using what they can. I don't mind it as much.
Yeah. And like you said, so Silva's men arrive. They pull all this stuff. Kincaid and M are able to beat them along with Bond, but M is going to get shot. The helicopter arrives at this point. And we have Bond sending M and Kincaid to the chapels where he says to go via the tunnel. So Bond is kind of keeping their attention while they're fleeing. And he ends up like blowing up the house with like these two.
This
like,
is the other video game ass moment.
Yes, yeah.
He looks over and sees like two propane tank type things, but they're painted like bright red, right? So it's something straight out of a video game where it's like, oh, you got to shoot the red barrels to make an explosion, right? You know, and red barrels keep popping up all over the place. But he does what he's got to do. And apparently, he never liked that. He never liked Skyfall anyway. So
yeah,
he's not really sad to see
bad memories
get blown to smithereens.
Yeah, Silva is kind of trying to wait them out. He's like, "Oh, it's getting hot in there," and then blows up. Silva spots M in the distance after he kind of gets up and recovers from this, and
goddamn flashlight.
The flashlight that Kincaid is carrying, and he starts going after them. And Bond gets out of the tunnel and starts going after Silva and his. I guess at this point he's got like one guy left because the helicopter ended up crashing into the
killing everybody on board.
into the building, pretty much killing everybody else. And then we have the scene on ice where Bond is confronted and he uses the other henchman's gun to shoot a hole in the ice and fights the guy underwater,
What's the
killing
dude
him.
like a triangle choke underwater in
Yeah.
freezing cold water? Like,
Yeah, and he then ends up like losing the spot where the hole was at first, and he ends I think he gets like a flare gun or something from the guy that he
yeah,
it looks like it, and then is able to get out. We don't see him until he comes in and stabs Silva with the knife.
I thought he threw it
Um,
at him. I don't think I didn't think
yeah, he threw him. Whatever, same sort of thing. It ends up stabbing him through the throat. But Silva heads to the church and he confronts M, who is hurt, and he's kind of upset that he's like, "Who did this?" Like he's upset because he told them to like leave
nobody
it to
touches
her.
her. Yeah,
Yeah, so I think he's kind of upset that he's
he's not the one who gets the point. He doesn't get to do it.
yeah.
Someone else beat him to it.
But then he kind of goes crazy and is like puts both their foreheads together, like their temples together, and is like, "You do it, M. You end us both right here." Which she doesn't. Bond throws the knife, hits him.
That's got to be a painful.
Yeah,
Well, I don't even know if it'd be painful because if your spine gets severed like that, like it might be
you don't
quick. And,
feel. Yeah,
yeah, at that point, it might be just a split second of pain, but after that, like you're not feeling anything.
yeah. And uh, M is dying here. She's succumbing to her injuries after Silva dies here. She says she did get one thing right, and before she can say what it is, she dies. Obviously, referring to Bond and trusting Bond. Um, cut to Bond on the roof here, and Eve meets Bond on the roof. She gives him a box that M had left him. And it's this little running joke here because there's this bulldog ceramic figure that Bond didn't like on M's desk. And when they're in the new MI6 underneath in the bunker, it's still on her desk. And he's like, the whole building blows up and that thing survives. Like, like, come on. So she gives it to him, which Eve says, like, oh, maybe that's saying you should get a desk job. He's like, nah, it means the opposite. And they go inside and Eve's, Bond's like, hey, we never actually been properly introduced. And she says her name is Eve Moneypenny. So Moneypenny is usually the secretary for M. So she is off the field work. And we're introduced to a classic Bond character right here.
Okay, I did not know. Like the
Yes.
name didn't mean any significance to me, and I'll be honest, I didn't even think to Google it. I was just like, sure, whatever.
It's a very Bond name, Moneypenny.
Yeah, that's honestly it's the first thing I thought. Like,
Yeah.
that's a Bond esque name right there. Like, okay, sure, I don't know what it means, but whatever.
Tanner comes out of
I'm guessing we'll see more of her later.
Yes, she's in the next two. Yeah, she's the next two. Tanner comes out of the office and says he will see you now. He's going in and meet the new M. Did you know who it was going to be? Did you figure that out?
No, I didn't. I'll be honest. So I thought M was just the abbreviation because we go back to Casino Royale, right?
Yeah, it's her name.
Yeah, but like Bond doesn't get to say it because he's like he thought the same thing. He was like, "Oh, I thought," and I thought M. Well, he's like, "I thought M was a code name. I didn't know it was abbreviation for." He's like, "If you continue that sentence, I will kill you." Like,
well, they set this up because M is still short for Mallory, which is his last name.
which
so there you
go. I go through as
they
I'm
kept
doing
it
this.
consistent. They kept it consistent.
But I guess everything is based off of it was like the guy who was in charge of MI6 that used like C and M or something like that. I'll be honest, I was quite sad that we lost
Judi Dench, Dame
Judi Dench. Oh, I'm sad that we lost M. Dame Judi Dench is M in the series, right? I bring it back to what I said in for the first two. She is a very fierce character.
Mm-hmm.
And especially as she went through her hearings that we see in this one, I thought she's been doing this for a very long time. obviously she's older, so she's probably in like her 70s, or even her character's like in her 70s or 80s at this point, right? Doing this.
Yeah.
But she's done a lot of field work. She's like, this whole thing is not new to her. She's very fierce. She's very loyal. She's very protective of her people. She's been through some shit. Like, and you think back to being that age, that means she went through when all of that was really a boys' club.
Right.
She probably had to do so much more work to prove her worth as an agent. Because during those times they probably didn't look too highly on female agents, or they probably only used them as like sex pots and stuff. They didn't think they were capable of doing the actual field work. And so she had to put in time and effort and energy
Right.
and everything to do that. So she has earned her position. So while I was doing that, we're recording this. For me, it is still the 8th of November. I watched this yesterday, the 7th. An article came out from the day before that unfortunately Judi Dench is going blind.
Oh, really? I didn't see that.
Like if you look it up, like there's something going on where she talks about how she can't watch TV anymore. She can't, if she goes to like the theater, she has to have someone with her who can describe it because she can't see anymore. Like whatever. She talks about how she's never really been the kind of person to like or live alone anyway, but now she has to have someone around her because she can't really.
Oh, she has macular degeneration.
Like she can't really make her way around the house and everything, and she
Wow.
needs someone around her at all time, which made me sad because I know that means at some point soon, hopefully not too soon, we're gonna lose Judi Dench.
She's
Right?
90 years old.
Yeah, she's up there, but that means at some point soon we're unfortunately gonna get the news that she's no longer here.
Right, right.
So then something clicked in me, and I had to do a really weird Google search, right? And the Google search I did was, is Olivia Colman the new Judi Dench? Because I was like, Olivia Colman reminds me like of a younger Judi Dench. I was
I
like,
could see that. I could see that.
I am not the only one who thinks that. Because yeah, there were a ton of articles who were like, Olivia Colman is this generation's Judi Dench, and so many other things. Going to the point, it probably doesn't fit in because I don't think she was in the Harry Potter series. But this is what I was talking about earlier, where I said there's another connection, because Olivia Colman has stated before that she would love to play a version of M down the road, or like at some point, that she would really relish that, and she would love to play M in any further or in the James Bond franchise. And as I saw that, immediately I was like, Amazon, you better not screw this up. Like, obviously, I'm guessing Ray Fiennes continues with M going forward for the next couple of movies, unless something bad happens to him and then someone else steps in the role. But Amazon now gets to pick it up. And Olivia Colman is a little bit younger, obviously, than Judi Dench is. Excuse me, but if they're going with a younger James Bond, and maybe just because what I saw her do in what was the horrible Marvel series that we watched that didn't fare too well?
Secret Invasion.
Secret Invasion, right?
Yeah,
Where
Olivia Colman was that.
Where
Yeah.
But I brought up like it was like because she tortured somebody, and I was like, it's almost like you're being tortured by Mary Poppins. I think that was my comment. But I would love to see Olivia Colman take up the role as M going forward.
That would be, there's an opportunity here.
But it just, I had all kinds of emotions last night as I was watching this and going down this rabbit hole. And then like I said, I saw that, Judi Dench is 90, she's going blind. And I was
yeah,
like,
yeah.
Man, this is unfortunate. I'm not trying to have this podcast go on a down.
Yeah, you're bumming us out. Yeah.
But to bring us back up, there's a
thank you for bringing
possibility
that up,
that Olivia Colman could, I'm not saying she will, but she could portray him. And I think that would be great. I don't know. So who portrayed M? Was it a male or female who portrayed him in the Connery? The ones you've watched so far.
Male. Yeah. I mean, I think it was a male all the way up till Dame Judi Dench. Typically a male role. So
Look, times are modernizing, right? We're
yeah.
going in new directions. Oh, like if she wants to do it, she is just like Judi Dench. She's an Academy Award winner, and she is
Yeah, and she's
renowned for her
hitting
acting
that,
skills.
just like how we were talking about Denny Villeneuve becoming like very popular lately. Olivia Colman is like hugely popular now. I knew her from a British sitcom called Peep Show that I used to watch. That's how I knew her, and then all of a sudden she blew up, and I was like, oh yeah, like I guess she
So
was was she in The Crown or something that people, I don't know,
I
I feel
think
like
so. I think so. It wouldn't surprise me.
something took off
There was a
with
lot
her
of
that,
people in The Crown,
yeah.
right? And that was a really popular show. One of my all-time favorite crushes, Gillian Anderson, was in The Crown, right? I
Oh,
think she
okay.
played Margaret Thatcher, if I'm correct.
I could see that. I think I could
Um,
see that actually.
I remember Olivia Colman just from Secret Invasion. I think she was
Yeah.
in the MCU before that. I don't know what she did. I may have seen her and just didn't know it because I didn't know who she was. Because I don't follow some stuff like that. But um, yeah, she Olivia Colman is really she's but they're saying her acting skills and she's
Yeah.
beloved. She's the Academy Award winner, just like Judi Dench is and everything. And people are comparing her, saying she is this generation. Uh, you know, she has the capability of taking that role. So like as I was reading that, I was like, yes, Amazon needs to make this
Yeah, so we get Mallory as the new M here, and we get him saying, like, are you ready to get back in the field? And
Those are my top secret file.
Bond is like, what does he say? I had somebody quote it to me actually earlier today. Um, he says, uh, the with pleasure, M, with pleasure. So we get the gun barrel scene at the
Yes.
end here, right? And then the happy 50 at the Bond, and it says James Bond will return. All right. Do we want to go to? Well, you know what? I do have some notes here on how I looked it up while we're doing this about the how Sam Mendes was approached. So apparently, he first signed on to direct shortly after Quantum of Solace released. And it was Craig's idea, Daniel Craig's idea, that Mendes should be the next Bond director. They both worked on a movie called Road to Perdition.
Isn't that the one with Tom Hanks? Wasn't Hanks in Road to Perdition?
Yes, yeah, it's
He
based
played a
off a
hitman.
DC comic. What? That's interesting. But yeah, Tom Hanks, Paul Newman, Jude Law, Daniel Craig. This is from 2002.
Didn't
I
Hanks
don't think
play
I've
like
seen
a
that.
hit? Like I think
Yeah,
Tom
he's got
Hanks
like a
plays like a
gun.
hitman or something. He's got a Tommy gun or something. I don't know.
He's got like one of those guns with like the circle in the
A Tommy
middle of
gun.
it.
Yeah.
Is that what it is? Okay. And it's set in the Great Depression. So we got a little bit of mob stuff going on there. But yeah, so apparently they worked together. Craig kind of apparently offered it to him so much that Craig had to call one of the producers, Barbara Broccoli, to say, I think I may have offered Sam Mendes the next movie because he was drunk when he did this. But Mendes was first hesitant and then ended up, I guess, jumping on due to Craig's involvement and his enthusiasm. So,
Look, I'm
that
not
got
gonna
done.
lie. I can understand his hesitation. Like,
Yeah.
you're doing you do work or whatever, and maybe you have your own movies you're making, or you're working with someone else and you're working with them, and then all of a sudden it's like, do you want to take charge of the James Bond franchise? Like,
Right. Right.
that's a huge ask right there. That's you don't take that lightly. Like, you can't waffle on that either. Like, you either have to be all in or all out.
Yeah. Yeah. So that is how he got roped into because we were wondering. So definitely like Daniel Craig kind of, having some control over the franchise here.
If that's who James Bond wants, I mean, it's kind of hard to be like, no, we're gonna get somebody else.
Yeah. All right. So we want to get to ratings or ratings first, then stats.
Let's do it.
All right. Ratings. Rotten Tomatoes, 92% critic, 86 popcorn meter. IMDb 7.8. Metascore 81. Cinema score A. I wrote down here Casino Royale was an A-. Quantum of Solace was a B-. So it was a bit of a upwards trajectory from Quantum of Solace here. And like we mentioned earlier, box office of $1.109 billion. So the best received of the Bond movies. So Casey, I have this. You want me to share mine first?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's a 5 out of 5. But what I'll say is this is one when I binged them all and I had them in my rankings. I had this bottom. And during this rewatch, it worked for me a lot more to where I put this behind Casino Royale as probably number 2. I have No Time to Die as number 1, but that could be recency bias when I walked out of the theater. So as we're going through these again, I'm going to kind of find where
You're going to reshuffle them around.
Yeah, I'm going to reshuffle around. So right now it's probably Casino Royale than this, but even on my thread from earlier, a lot of people saying this is their favorite Bond movie or their favorite Craig era movie. So 5 out of 5 for me. What say you here?
I can't disagree. This is my favorite Bond movie so far.
Okay.
It wasn't overly burdened with action stuff, right?
Yeah.
There were some good action scenes and everything. And obviously action is a key part of the James Bond franchise. But not everything needs to be like this really big action heavy stuff. Depending on
mainly
the
opening, right? It was mainly the cold open, and then the
chase through London.
Even that is more of like not really action as much as it's like
this is more of a thriller for me.
Yeah,
than an action movie. But
because then it's just the Skyfall stuff.
I thought the story was really well done. Like I said, I love Judi Dench, and the fact that we lost M was heartbreaking for me, right? And I was very sad when I saw that because I was like, man, to be honest, I don't know how I feel about Voldemort being him. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm not a big Harry Potter franchise guy, right? But
I think he's a good actor, though. So I do
I can't take anything away. He played, he played a really weird dude in Red Dragon. One of the serial killers in Hannibal Lecter. Ray Fiennes is a fantastic actor. Like I'm not taking anything away from him. Just saying in general, it's Voldemort, and I don't know how I feel about Voldemort being
in charge of the British government.
Yeah. But yeah, so far for me, this has been of the 3 James Bond films I've seen, right?
Yeah.
So it's
small sample size. Yeah.
Not a huge sample size, right? You can only be one, 2, or 3, but this has been number 1 for me after watching it last night. I really enjoyed it pretty much from start to finish. And I'm interested to see where we go because I know from here we get Blofeld, and I know from here we get Spectre and Blofeld, and Blofeld comes back for another movie and things. So the story continues from here, but in great ways. So I'm looking forward to seeing where this is going.
Yeah, I'm glad it worked for me a lot more on this rewatch. I think it was one of those things where I have vivid memories of. I think I started this movie 4 years ago at work. Like I think I was on my lunch break and was watching the opening chase scene there.
This doesn't seem like a movie you can break up into little chunks.
But that's the thing. Yeah, then I watched some of it upstairs and then I watched some of it downstairs. So I think it was one of those things where it was so segmented for me, it probably didn't land. I did still have to watch it. I still did watch it in 2 parts because I started it again with all the best intentions after 10 o'clock yesterday. And I'm just at the point where I was like, I can't do this. I started like drifting at 11 and I was like, I'm gonna go to sleep, and then when my son napped today, I came in here and watched the last hour and a half. And the last hour and a half is pretty much, it was from him getting on that little boat in the China in
Yeah.
Shanghai to the casino, and then to the end of the movie, which was all just like boom, 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 boom. Like it was great
The
stuff.
movie itself was 2.5 hours, and it didn't really drag on at all. So,
no, it doesn't.
It definitely a good movie. Yeah, but this doesn't seem like a movie you can really break up like that. Like I get it, you have to because you have a kid, and now at least like you have a kid, and you may not be able to dedicate 2.5 hours straight to watch it like that. That's understandable. Like that's just
yeah.
life. But yeah, trying to watch it in like 30-minute chunks, like at work, and then like 45 minutes over here. That doesn't seem like it would work very well with this, and that could be a reason why it fell down the list.
Yeah,
it wasn't all in one thing, but I watched it all straight through yesterday.
Yeah, and I think it was, I think I was rushing to get to No Time to Die because, like I said, I watched them all like in the week building up to me going to see it on a matinee. So I think I was like rushing through this to get to it.
At that point, you might be forcing it. You might not be
Yeah.
totally paying attention because you got other stuff going on. But you have to get through it you have to get through it in order to make it to, like when I did the Marvel-a-thon a couple of years ago, like WrestleMania was like Saturday and Sunday, but I knew like my Saturday and Sunday evenings were going to be dedicated to WrestleMania. So I had to fit like 2 or 3 movies a day in there to like fit those things. And granted, Thor: The Dark World itself wasn't the greatest movie.
Yeah, no, it's not great.
But in general, like I fell asleep during that. And usually when I fall asleep, like I try and pick it back up. Like if I doze off, I rewind and pick it back up.
Right.
With that one, I was just like, we're moving on to the next.
Yeah, like, we've seen it. It's good. We're done.
It's Thor. There was some elves. I don't. We're just. We're just moving. We're moving forward. I don't know. So yeah, if you're trying to force yourself to there, you can definitely.
Stats. We get on the director side of things, we have a +1 for Sam Mendes. We'll get at least 2 of those in this because of Spectre. We have already counted Bond as one of our franchise movies that we've had, and it's also another adaptation. Okay, 3 films so far: Daniel Craig and Judi Dench with the 3 Bond films. Schwarzenegger still king at 5. So Craig will equal him when we finish it, but I'm sure we'll be having some Arnold at some point as well. We have in one film, I've added who did I add? I added Naomi Harris, who plays Moneypenny, because she'll be in a couple. Rafe Fiennes and Javier Bardem I've added. So each of those of one film. Genre. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. This is another good thing. I'm gonna put this as like action and crime thriller, right? We'll put that as both because it is very much a thriller feel to it. So we have Skyfall for those. In our names, we're going to add Q, our first Q, and it's his name is Q. That's what he's known as. So that's what
does Q actually have a name, or is he just Q for quartermaster?
He's just Q for quartermaster.
That's just all he goes by is Q. We don't ever learn Q's actual in any of the Bond films. We just now does this guy
maybe in some of the older ones, I don't know, but
this guy who plays Q come back in the other movies?
I think he might be in the next 2. I don't remember how often they show Q, but he is in. I can look it up real quick. He is in. Yeah, he's in the next 2. Yeah.
Okay.
So I can add him to this thing too. That's Ben Whishaw. He's in something else I've watched. I think he's in Cloud Atlas, which is in 2012 as well. Cloud Atlas, which was a fun movie that I liked. But yeah, so we get Q. I'm gonna add an E. We're gonna have Eve Moneypenny here. Otherwise, we have M and James Bond. Those are the same
Yeah.
as usual. All right, so the letters that we don't have so far are U, X. It might just be U and X now that we have. Oh, and I. We really need one with somebody just named like Irvin or Ichabod or something. Get that I filled in. Okay, so what is next for us here?
All righty. So I told you I have something special for you, right? So
Yeah.
before we go to that, we talked about this offline. I was going to choose Van Helsing.
Mm-hmm.
They were trying to start a franchise with Van Helsing, played by Hugh Jackman. I don't want to say it was failed. It didn't perform well. So the franchise never moved forward, unfortunately. I still think it was decent. Um, but I know you're a fan of, at least as he plays Wolverine, I think you might enjoy it. But, so Van Helsing, because it literally just came off streaming within the last week or two, probably after Halloween, because there's horror creatures in there. So
Right.
that's probably why. Okay, so what do I have the special for you? I'm going to give you a choice.
Oh.
I'm not going to tell you what they are.
Okay.
I'm going to give you very vague
Okay.
descriptions, and you will choose from these vague descriptions.
I like this twist.
Choice number 1, animation.
Okay. Animation.
Choice number 2, an older movie that is getting rebooted.
So my thought. Okay. Go ahead.
Choice number 3, 221. It's going to turn into a series. Two. We're not going to watch them both at the same time. 2 movies in one series. 2 movies in another series. And then 1 movie that combines the series. Series.
Okay. I'm trying to guess what. So my guess is option B is Running Man, the original.
Yes.
Because of the reboot. Okay.
So this is what we talked offline. This was not available on streaming up until recently. And when I looked at it over the last couple months, because I saw that the new Running Man is coming out, but I saw it wasn't available on streaming, I was a little upset. Like, hey, there are people who are fans of Schwarzenegger and this movie, and if you want to get people to go see, you want the older people to go see this movie, you need to be able to stream the older movie somewhere. B, as people see the commercials for the Running Man and you find out it's a reboot, people are going to want to, well, let me see what the old one was about first.
Right.
Because that might get them hyped up to go see the new one. But up until recently, it wasn't. But at least when I checked earlier today, it is now on Paramount Plus. So my guess is it might be a time thing where they timed it so it would come out as the new Running Man is coming out.
That's what I'm thinking. Or to capitalize on it. Animation really is interesting me because I'm thinking like what I wouldn't have seen.
I'll tell you
and
this.
Then
I'll tell you what animation is. It's not a movie, TV show.
Okay.
5 episodes of Futurama.
Oh, that's what I was gonna guess. And then option C was, you said 221.
Yep.
So is this like Alien versus Predator or something?
Building up to that? Alien and Aliens.
God, I nailed it. I nailed all of these. Okay.
Predator and Predator 2, and then Alien versus Predator.
That's like, okay, do we want 5 weeks locked in there? Let's think. You know what though? I feel like those are.
I'll tell you this: Futurama is not going anywhere off of Hulu.
Yeah, I know.
Because they have at least, I think, 1 or 2 more seasons. That they brought the show back. Yeah, so they've got like 1 or 2 more seasons coming down the road. So Futurama is not going anywhere. So if necessary, we can hold off on Futurama for a little bit.
So I think I'm leaning towards Running Man.
because we might lose that one.
Yes, that's kind of my thought.
If we go 5 weeks down the road, if we
Yeah,
go 5 episodes, that'll put us into
that's
like
10 weeks.
January. That'll put us into like January or so, and it might not be streaming anymore.
Yes.
I,
Yeah.
I will say I do think Alien, Predator, and AVP is safe as well because
They're Fox and they're on Hulu, right?
there's that. They are all currently on Hulu.
Because they have the Alien show and they have the new
They just
Predator
had the
movie.
Alien show, the new Predator movie that just came out. I'm not sure if they've said there's going to be a second season for sure of Alien Earth, but I'm not sure if they said for sure or not if it's going to be. But I think there is. So if that's the case, there's a good chance that's not going anywhere anytime soon. So
Okay.
yeah, the one that might not make it until January is Running Man. But you never know. I don't know.
Yeah, I think we do Running Man. You said Paramount Plus?
It is currently on Paramount Plus.
What year did the original one come out in? Do you know that?
It originally came out in 1987.
87. Okay.
It is based off of a 1982 Stephen King novel.
Yeah, Stephen King's everywhere right now, man, because he even had that Long Walk movie that just came out. You get this one. I didn't even know this was a Stephen King thing until recently. And because they said, I think this one, the new one with Glenn Powell, is supposed to be more based on the book than a reboot of the movie. So I don't know if there's differences there, but that's what I heard.
It is an action movie starring Arnold Schwarzenegger. And
so we're adding +1 for Arnold, we're adding +1 for action, and +1 for adaptation.
And franchise. Also stars Richard Dawson, who people might remember from Hogan's Heroes, and or a host of Family Feud.
Yes.
While he was host of Family Feud, he frequently kissed the women on the lip. So there's a lot of jokes about that from the 80s. I don't think there was anything nefarious behind it. I don't know, but it was kind of weird. Dystopian action movie starring Arnold Schwarzenegger as Ben Richards, who was forced to compete on a deadly reality show to win his freedom.
Interesting. We'll get Arnold the 6th. And I know there's another one I want to watch with Arnold as well. And he's in Predator too, isn't he?
Yes, he is.
So we can get him up to like 8.
Look, I know.
At some point I want to watch Total Recall, and he's in that. So like we're adding him, man.
I know. Between his scandal and then he was governor of California, and now people don't look too highly of him or don't like he's not thought of in the same way. A lot of his recent movies haven't been box office gold as they once were. But for people of my age, people who grew up in the 80s and 90s, there was a very significant period of time where Arnold Schwarzenegger was the biggest movie star in the world. And he put, movies out one after another that were blockbusters. And you can say what you want about the movies. Not all of them were great. Like I'm not even gonna say like Running Man is like a 5-star movie. I'll be honest, I haven't watched it probably about 20 years. But even then, even when I watched it initially, it wasn't a 5-star movie. But
no, but out of the ones we've seen, T1, T2, True Lies, he's been pretty good. Jingle All the Way is a favorite of mine of Arnold. So like really just Rise of the Machines is maybe the only one right now I would say he's like.
And even he kind of didn't want to do that, but I think what I told you, Cameron told him like take the money. I think they were offering him like $20 million for the movie. So even Cameron was like, dude, just take the money. Like, And granted, like I said, as we've seen, a lot of his newer stuff didn't necessarily perform well. Some of the expendable stuff was pretty good, right?
But he's also getting to an age now where I feel like it's hard to be that like getting that old and being still like that action star, because at some point like you age out of like the main demographic
Yeah.
of like the younger kids don't really know who he is as much, or they
Yeah,
don't
that's what I'm saying.
care,
Like,
right? Like
like
that's what it
if
is.
he came out with like an action movie now, I don't be honest, I don't know if I'd want to go see it, but my interest would be piqued because I still remember Arnold
Right.
like as the Terminator. Like
But like my nephews who are like teenagers would not care. That's the
yeah,
thing,
like
right? Like
he's not he doesn't hold the same weight, and I get that. And with a lot of the movies I picked, there's a nostalgia tint to them. Like I've
mhm.
never denied that, but I think especially with the new, I do want to see the new Running Man because I thought the story of Running Man was really good and the changes they made to it. I think in the '87 movie, it was taken over. It was over the course of like a night or two, but like this one is supposed to be over the course of like 30 days.
Oh,
It's a
okay.
little more bombastic and over the top. Like whoever the
Yeah, I've
host
been
of the
seeing
show is.
trailers. Yeah, I've been seeing
Um,
trailers for it. I think that's another reason why I picked it. Is just like, okay, I let's watch the original because I keep seeing trailers for this new one. But yeah, so that'll be on Paramount Plus. Or people can buy it for $7.99 on Fandango at home and Apple.
I got the 4K not too long ago because I think it was on sale for like 9.99 or like $15 or something. And I was like,
That's
ooh,
good.
I have to get that.
I just saw like True Lies was on sale for $5 on Vudu. I did not purchase it, but I picked Minority Report instead. But yeah, it was some of these movies are that we've done. Like The Rock was also on sale recently. Like a lot of movies we've done recently have been like on sale when I'm scrolling through their sales, and I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Um, okay. Anything else before we
No, so
get out
I
of here?
mean, at least I think for sure we like our next two movies are locked in because mine is going to be The Running Man and yours is going to
Yeah,
be
Spectre.
so we know what those the next two are,
Yeah,
and then I just got to figure out what I'm going to do after that.
yeah. I think we're getting locked in here. All right, you can follow us on all of our social media. Not that I post so much on our socials, but you can also just follow ourselves on social media as well if you look us up there. Um, but yeah. All right. So next time is Running Man, the original 1987 version. It's on Paramount Plus. Make sure you watch that before checking in with us here. Have a great rest of your couple weeks, and we'll catch you next time.